Morning is going to go well. We got game time at 8:30. We have Jeff Kerr at 8 o'clock from CBS Sports talking about the latest in Eagles moves and reaction. And something troubling was said yesterday by Dave Zangaro from NBC Sports Philadelphia. It's the second cut, Pat, where he joined the best show ever. And we saw last night Bobby Wagner signed with the Washington Commanders, who have signed I think it's 14 or 15 players in free agency.
Josh Harris spending that money.
Well, he's trying to do a house cleaning, and I don't blame them. I'm not criticizing the moves. They're trying to do that. But Bobby Wagner gets $8.5 million on a one-year deal. Now, he gets reunited with his old defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn, so you can understand there was a bit of a relationship there. But when Dave Zangaro joined the best show ever yesterday, he talked about the Eagles and shopping for linebackers and the linebacker position. And this I found a little frustrating.
I have been kind of surprised about the linebacker market this offseason. It's been a little higher than I expected. Some of these deals are just a tick above where I thought they'd be, and that's probably one of the reasons the Eagles have been left out so far. Not a ton of names still out there. Jerome Baker's probably the guy who makes the most sense. 27 years old, has starting experience. But sometimes we've seen how we do this before when they kind of get priced out of a position. They'll get a little creative. They'll make a trade. Not saying that's going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if that ended up being an outcome here because the price tag on some of these linebackers has been much higher than I expected.
Okay, that's what market value means. And Dave Zangaro doing great work. I like reading his stuff and enjoy his work on NBC Sports Philadelphia. But that's what market value means. In this era, this salary cap, this number, what a guy can get on the open market when his services are available to anyone is what a linebacker costs. And when I hear that the Eagles are priced out of the linebacker market, that concerns me. Because it is. You decide where you want to spend your money. And, again, my biggest fear of this offseason, and, yes, I like the Saquon move. I like Saquon Barkley being an Eagle. I thought it's a high price to pay for a running back. I think that Bryce Huff getting that deal is way over what his value has shown to be. Whether he becomes the player that they think he is, that's another issue. But when I hear that the Eagles are priced out at linebacker, that's not true. It's that they're priced out what they think a linebacker is worth. And I would say it's fair to say that Howie Roseman, in all of his great things that he does as a general manager, his understanding of the importance of linebackers and finding good ones and allocating the right funds to that position is not one of his strengths. And it is one of the concerns that we're going to get all the shiny toys and the same things are going to continue to plague the Philadelphia Eagles in the future. And it is one of my concerns. Linebacker being it, Bob, that they're not priced out of the linebacker market. That's what teams are paying for linebackers in the NFL. They're choosing to not spend at linebacker.
Yeah, there's kind of two ways you can look at it. The fact that Zangaro, who follows and has price markets on all these positions and players and all that, that's what all beat writers do. You look at the market, you figure it out what it's going to cost. His probably wasn't very far off than Howie's. This is the market. And then all of a sudden, teams start paying higher and higher, and now you have to up it because, we need a linebacker. We thought he was an $8 million guy. He's 10.2. Okay, got to go for it. So it could be that Howie was caught off guard with it. Or the past history says Howie's not very good at determining the market on linebackers.
I think it's probably a little of both.
Yeah, that's
be fair. I mean, to be fair, it's probably a little of both. I think people say that the running back market did that. We've never seen a free agency market in the NFL where this many running backs went off the board fast in that day one. Usually running back is one of the markets where players stick around on the board for a while and you end up finding better value. But this year, we have running backs just dropping bang, bang, bang right off the board. So sometimes this is the way the market dictates it. Over the years is searching the bargain basement for linebackers has not been a strategy that has worked.
No, it has not. I'm not looking for them to go to the Mexican Football League. and find somebody from the Aztec polar bears and decide, you know what, we really think we can develop this guy. And that seems to be what their MO is every friggin' year. Let's go to Canada and sign Alex Singleton from the Calgary Stampeders. And look, he's a player. Okay, yeah, he's an
nice
NFL player. He's a special teams player. I mean, look, what are we doing? They bring in Zach Bond. I am going to rip my friggin' hair out when during May and June they're talking up Zach Bond as if he's competing for a starting linebacker spot because they don't have anybody else. Because they don't really develop guys. And when they do develop them, they let them walk in free agency.
This is one of the things, Pat, where I say that we hear about trust Howie. I can trust Howie on a lot of things. I think his ability to find players along the offensive and defensive lines has been really, really solid. I think his ability to go and make bold moves to go and get like an A.J. Brown or to get ahead of the Giants to grab Devontae Smith. Those are great things that I can trust Howie in. What I can't trust is that there's a blind spot at linebacker. He's going to say, I've been to 2 of the last 7. Well, he'll say 2 of the last 6 Super Bowls when it's 7. But it's 2 of the last 7 Super Bowls. And the idea is that I can't trust him on that. There's no way he gets blind trust on this. And I love the fact that they brought back C.J. Gardner-Johnson. That was great, as Pat said yesterday, correcting a mistake. But to me, they're heading down a road again where they're going to go bargain basement at a position, and opposing offensive coordinators are going to exploit it week after week after week.
What's the 2 positions that Howie doesn't like to pay money? Running back and linebacker. Okay, what are the 2 positions this free agency that appears to have gotten overpaid? Running back and linebacker.
That is correct.
It's like, oh, man, Howie spent money on running back. Okay, so if we look at it this way. Would you have rather had Patrick Queen, if like the same thing, 3 years for 13.7? Or would you rather have Saquon Barkley?
Patrick Queen.
And then who's your running back?
I think it makes you a better. Well, you can find. They've shown
okay, well, that's what you're doing
but they've shown over and over again that anyone, as Jason Kelsey, we're going to hear from Jason Kelsey later.
He's coming back, by the way.
As history shows, they can show you where every year how he can find guys to run behind this offensive line, and they have great success.
Okay.
So I do not have a worry that he could have found an Austin Eckler, who I don't think is the caliber of Saquon Barkley. But I think he could have found an Austin Eckler for half the price. Half the price.
And half the player, probably.
I don't believe he's half the player. I think that's a little.
All right, you can go. I don't know. All right, you can go Austin Eckler. Does a Tony Pollard get it done for you? Does Devin Singletary?
Tony Pollard on a 1-year deal, 2-year deal type of thing? Sure, absolutely.
Okay, well then the complaint, not yours. The complaint should be that they overpaid Saquon Barkley and they didn't address the linebacker position. If we're going to put it out there that way, then that's what it is.
Well,
we can't say we love Saquon Barkley being here and then say, yeah, but they could have got Tony Pollard cheap and still gotten a Patrick Quinn or something. So the mistake, if you're lining it out that way, would be they overpaid Saquon Barkley.
The biggest worry to me is that this team, running back was not a problem. Was not a problem for this team. And by the way, running back has not been a problem for this team since, what, like 10 years ago? Maybe longer? I don't know when it was a real problem for this team. Whereas linebacker is a problem for this team. And it's an Achilles heel over and over again. And it just concerns me that is what it is. And yes, you can be happy. Both things can be true. You can be happy that Saquon Barkley's here as the player he is. But you can also say, at the deficiency of another position, there is a certain amount of money. It's a finite amount. And you've got to decide where you want to spend it. And it appears from Dave Zangaro yesterday, he's a believer, and there are others, that, look, the same old linebacker strategy is going to happen again. They're going to go with, and I wouldn't want to pay Bobby Wagner $8.5 million. No. Absolutely would not do that. Washington did it because I believe Dan Quinn's trying to establish his system, his culture, and he knows that Bobby Wagner can carry the water on that for him. Yeah, I wouldn't pay that if I'm the Eagles. I'm not paying that kind of money. I don't rip them at all for not wanting to pay that price.
No, not for 1 year. Now, if they bring in the kid Baker, Jerome Baker, who was with Fangio in Miami, and a guy, they come out and they say, yeah, this is who we wanted all along. He knows Vic's defense. That's a guy that can help everybody else in the defense. Then you're like, Okay.
And he's a nice player.
Yeah,
he's better
probably
than
the
anything you got, right?
fourth or fifth best linebacker that was out there. Yeah. So maybe you do that, and everybody's like, okay, it worked.
I look at every single move as, did you improve yourself? And are they a better team today? And I believe with Saquon Barkley, you're a better team than you were when you had DeAndre Swift. And I love DeAndre Swift being a part of this team. I would have been great having him back. Would have loved it. But to me, the idea is, don't tell me you're priced out of the linebacker market. No, you made a choice not to be involved with market value for linebackers.
Well, that's going to be,
You made that choice.
But that's
You
going to
said-
be everywhere. Like,
Yeah, it
I'm
is.
not paying $10 million a year for a backup quarterback. Doesn't mean you're outpriced. Maybe it means, like, that's my decision of what not to do. This linebacker thing is really weird. I don't understand it. Now, like I said, they could do something maybe today and bring in a Baker or bring in a Devin White. I don't think he signed anywhere last night. Something like that that makes you say, okay, well, at least they got it done. I can't imagine how he's going to go into this season with Nakobe Dean and insert veteran cheap linebacker here.
Joe Flacco, by the way, got $8.7 million for a backup quarterback.
Yeah, way to go, Joe.
Good for
Guy's
Joe.
rolling in
He
it.
got another pay. He gets another payment, which is fantastic for him. I love seeing that for him. But $8.7 million for backup. Marcus Mariota gets $6 million. So that's another position where Howie was in on Joe Flacco. The Eagles made him a contract offer, reported last night, NFL Network. They were in on Joe Flacco. But I'm sure they probably saw $8.7 million and said, no, we're good. We're good. I believe they paid Joe a few years ago $4 million.
Yeah,
He
he
gave a
helped
$4
himself
million deal.
with a little 5-game or 6-game stretch with Cleveland,
Good
didn't
for
he?
him. Good
Yeah.
for him. He earns it. It was a quiet Wednesday for the most part. But what do you think about the decision and the abandonment of linebacker again? And does it concern you? 610-632-0975 if you'd like to get in on that discussion. And our 6 a.m. hour is brought to you by our friends at Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White is here for the pro. So if the Eagles don't address linebacker, is there any way that they could be good enough? Plus, are Sweat and Reddick staying or going? It's the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. you streaming, we see you. And remember, as breaking news comes your way, you can always find it at 975thefanatic.com. And those checking it out every day, we appreciate you being here on this Thursday morning. You had a good anniversary dinner last night, Bob?
Oh, delicious.
Fantastic.
Went to Fleming's Steakhouse, which is phenomenal.
We love Fleming's.
Oh my God! I was like writing down all the stuff that we had. I had filet mignon with crab meat. I had oysters as an appetizer. We had lobster mashed potatoes, salads, lobster tails, shrimp cocktail. It was just the two of us.
Okay, I've never heard you eat like this.
Oh, it was awesome.
I heard your stomach this morning, though.
My stomach was gurgling a little bit this morning, but yeah, it was like the perfect. I didn't do too much beforehand. Like my wife was like, "Oh, get a soup. You love the lobster best." No, it's going to fill me up.
Yes.
Made sure I didn't eat too much bread. You know, we each had a nice glass of wine.
You're
so
smart.
It worked out good. Yeah,
works out good, and congratulations
Fleming's was
again.
phenomenal.
Now you're on to your 32nd year of marriage. Good for you.
Yeah,
that's staying power. That is really, really good. The Eagles' decisions of this offseason, and one of the intriguing ones is going to be whether Howie could still move on from Reddick and Sweat. And right now I'm wondering what is going to go on with that. And I don't believe both will leave now, but could they both stay? It's absolutely a possibility. James Palmer from the NFL Network yesterday joined the best show ever. And he was asked flat out, could Howie make the decision to still move on from both of these guys?
Now, we'll see if they end up moving on from both of these guys. But I think the Huff deal obviously shows you that they're ready and willing. And here's the thing. With Howie, free agency just started. If they end up moving one of these guys, maybe somebody else comes in as well, right? And maybe there's another part of that rotation. I thought Philly was best up front when they rotated guys. And you saw all the snaps that Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick played this past year. And I think that impacted both of their success a little bit. They were playing more snaps than they usually do. Same with the guys in the middle. So we'll see if they get a little bit deeper. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. Howie can't help himself on the edge.
Would you be interested in Chase Young? 24 years old.
You got to be talking money there, right? You got to be talking serious money.
But a guy who has had his stock is down. If San Francisco got a look at him, and they're willing to let him go, they are reportedly willing to have him back, but not at the price that he wants.
Yeah, did you see any prices on him? Because I
did not.
Okay,
I mean, as far as what he's expecting, though, reportedly to be paid in the second tier of pass rushers. So I think what he's trying to get is probably what Hassan Reddick's trying to get. But he's 24 years old. So the idea being you'd be getting a guy that is literally 6 years younger, five to 6 years younger, if you were interested in that. But you can't do that unless you were moving on from some other players on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know if I want to take a risk. I got a guy here in Hassan Reddick, and I get it again. If you were able to get him on a deal where you were able to extend him, get him some upfront cash, and you were able to extend him much like you did with Darius Slay, I'm okay. I'm okay with it.
Me too. And, all right, so here's my question to you guys. What do you get for a Josh Sweat? What round? Don't tell me days because I don't know what days rounds are.
I would say you're going to get a 4th or 5th round draft pick.
Is it worth losing that and having him for this year in a rotation that includes Huff and Reddick and Sweat?
No, it's not worth getting rid of him. It is not
worth getting rid of him, right?
No, it's not worth getting rid of him.
So, like I said earlier this week, I'd put my feet up if I was Howie and say, yeah, you two guys, Hassan, take him aside and say, look, we're going to try to work something out for you. We'll get that done, whatever. Yeah, Josh, prove it year, contract year, go out and play. Go get him, buddy. Appreciate it. Josh Huff, you're in the rotation. There's your 3-man rotation, and Nolan Smith. Like I said, and I'm talking like Howie Roseman, like I said in the press conference, we're going to play our younger players. We're going to see how they are. It seemed like some reporters seemed to think that the direct relation there when he said, yeah, we talked to Nick and maybe we should have played younger players more, went directly to Nolan Smith. Okay, there's your 4 pass rushers.
Pat, you were one of the first ones floating the keep them both. That is your vote. Keep them both around.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of just cutting off your nose to spite your face. And that's what they'd be doing. If you're If you're not getting more than a 4th-round pick for Josh Sweat, what the hell are we doing? I mean, we're making at that point we become the organizations we make fun of. Like you guys just gave up a dude that does that for a 4th or 5th round pick. It's idiotic to me, especially when you don't have depth there. So I don't quite understand it in the slightest. If you decide to do that, I do think that they probably want it. I don't think they're going to give up Josh Sweat for a 4th or 5th round pick. I think they'd want more. They should want more. He's a good player, but that's so dumb.
I was told this yesterday by somebody who knows Hassan Reddick pretty well, is that Hassan Reddick was, and I'm going to quote, consummate professional. Consummate professional. So I believe if Howie went to Hassan Reddick and said, look, I gave you the chance to shop for a deal. He obviously hasn't found it. He has not found the deal. It's not there. So to me, and he's not even being mentioned in a lot of the discussions. I mean, I watch the NFL lives and everything like that, and I'll record them every day, maybe watch 10 minutes of it. But we'll fast forward. He's not even being mentioned as like a guy that teams are on the radar. Go get a Hassan Reddick. I think he's finding out that maybe the market that he thinks is out there for him isn't. But I want the Eagles to keep this guy around. And when I hear consummate professional, that's all the more reason to make some
Sized edge rusher, which he is. That does play a lot of man-on-man rushing techniques, which is tough. Sure, it's going to wear him down. But, yeah, I have no problem with a 3-year deal to him and extension this year, 3 more years, take him to 33 years old or whatever. It's funny. I got some feedback from somebody saying, look at it at the player's point of view. He's not going to get paid in a contract year being a part-time player. Isn't that what just happened with Bryce Huff?
Yes. Bryce Huff, I played half the snaps that he did.
Yeah, my point being, Chris, is that he's probably better off being a part-time player. You know, he's probably better off lowering the snaps and having more energy to get to the quarterbacks because at the end of the year, what did people look at in Bryce Huff? Not so much the 47% time he was on the field. No, the 10 sacks that he got. And if Josh Sweat is out there more fresh with a rotational thing and gets his 8 to 10 sacks, he's going to get paid.
And more importantly, I don't care what Josh – I mean, to me, I don't care what the arrival of Josh –
That's another way of looking at it, too. Yeah.
Like what it means to Josh Sweat. I don't care. You're under contract. I don't give a damn. Like if it's going to be – because what Huff has just shown you is – you can get paid taking half the snaps, and you can be more productive. And hopefully you don't go missing for half a season, as you've seen Josh Sweat do every year of his Eagle career. Now, Dave Zangaro yesterday was joining the best show ever, and he talked about the fact is Huff going to hold up in an expanded role?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest question about Bryce Huff is that he has been effective in a pretty limited role, 43% of the snaps last year with the Jets. The advanced analytics love him. I mean, on a per-snap basis, he is very disruptive, but he's doing it in a lot of pure pass rushing situations. And if you're a starting player, which is what the contract tells you about him, you're going to have to play a lot more than that. And we don't know how he's going to hold up. A lot of times that production does translate in more snaps, but sometimes it doesn't. And I think that's a little bit of the risk. The hope with Bryce Huff is that, yeah, everything translates and you get an ascending player who's still really young and who hasn't played the best football of his career. That's the best case scenario. And I think there is a chance that's the case with him with a lot of these free agency deals. Like there is some risk involved, and that's the risk with Bryce Huff, because when you watch the player, I mean, he has a lot of the traits I think the Eagles want right now, and one of them is get off. You know, the one position coach on that side of the football they didn't get rid of was Jeremiah Washburn, and the one thing he kind of tells his guys every day is get off the rock as quick as you can. Bryce Huff has been very good at that in his career, so I really like the player, but you're right. I mean, even if they keep one of Reddick or Sweat, we're still talking about Bryce Huff, an expanded role, and we don't really know what to expect from him in that.
I look at it as more snaps for a player is never a key to them being ultra more productive. Fresher, especially on the defensive side of the ball, the fresher the rotation, that you're going to get the better out of a player. If you ask him to play 30 snaps and you ask him to play 40 snaps, I believe in the course of a game, the 30-snap guy, if kept fresh, is going to be able to give you his best at many more of his snaps.
Look, it might only be the Eagles' Well, it's probably not. It's probably popular around the league that you want a fresh defensive line. You're not just going. The Eagles tried to go with 2 edge rushers last year all year long, and they misused Hassan Reddick, as we obviously know.
Absolutely, they did.
Getting worn down seemed to be a problem, and it seemed to be a problem with Jordan Davis his first year getting worn down and his second year getting worn down. Like rotational defensive lines, it seems like it's the way of football as much as passing the ball is. And and people are also saying about, well, he's not going to be happy if he's a rotational player, meaning Josh Sweat. Well, okay, is he going to play worse because he's not happy? So how dumb is he if he were to do that when he's on a contract year? Like, it's not being like, I don't care, you're under contract, go play. No, it's being like, look, I'm trying to get the most out of you, and I think getting the most out of you is having you fresh and out there and having backups for you that you can get the most production out of yourself.
This is where you and I are different, though. I absolutely am saying, I don't give a damn, go play for your contract.
Well, you can't
because
go
he's
that,
a guy.
You're not going to say that to your player.
No, but he's a guy that has disappeared for half of a season. I did the numbers for it, wrote a piece for 97.5 The Fanatic. He has disappeared for 8 or 9 game stretches every single year of his NFL career. He disappears. He's not to be found. He's not a guy that you go, man, we got to make sure Josh Sweat's happy. We have to really make sure that he's happy. No, you don't. Now, Hassan Reddick, I believe the exact opposite about. As Pat, you point out all the time, Reddick's a guy who has gone above and beyond and outplayed his $15 million a year.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not only outplayed it, but I mean, he's been as you guys talked about, the consummate professional. He comes into camp last year. He's asked about it. He says, I want a contract extension, but other than that, you didn't hear much of it, and he could have made it dirty. Even when the news came out about the Eagles allowing him to seek a trade, he took to Twitter and kind of tried to clear it up and say, like, I didn't ask for a trade. So, obviously he wants to get paid. This is probably going to be his last big-time contract. The deal that he signed with the Birds was a nice contract, but it wasn't probably what he thought he should have gotten after 2 really good seasons and 2 different teams. So this is his last opportunity. I don't blame him for wanting as much as he probably is demanding at this point.
Because he's earned the opportunity to at least say, can we look at this?
Yeah, absolutely. But I would assume that if they're bringing one back, it would be him because he's just more consistent.
I thought it was also cool that when he did come here, almost right away, he said it. He goes, look, you guys, I think this was almost an exact quote. He said to the reporters, you guys see it. I'm underpaid.
Yes.
But he said it.
And that was it.
And didn't harp on it.
No.
And didn't make it like a theme for him. He just kind of factually said, look, you guys see it. I'm underpaid. And went out and still kicked ass. And so,
that's
to
respect.
me.
That's respect.
Yeah, players, they might not want to hear some things or this. One of the biggest things in their mind is money. How do you get money? By being really good. And that's what they're looking to do, and that's what you have to bank on.
Scott's on the line. Scott, good morning. You're on The Fanatic.
Good morning, fellas. Good morning. Happy Thursday.
Hey,
Thank
Scott.
you, buddy.
So I think what we're understanding, what we're learning is that the league is getting younger. Like, I just seen Daniil Hunter just get paid, and he had 17 sacks last year. Like, I think a lot of the waiting is about seeing what happens in the draft. I mean, if we decide to keep one of the 2 players, I'm all for keeping Hassan because I think it was Saltunis who said it the other day. It's hard to play in Philly when you're from Philly, and Hassan came here and he owned that thing. Like, that's somebody you want to have around with a young team to take over when BG retires next year. I know John the veterans last year, they didn't step up last year, but you do need a veteran presence in the locker room, and I can see Hassan being that guy because he's the first player to come to Philly that lived in Philly that actually could stand it here and actually succeed.
I love everything he's bringing, but I do ask you, what did the veteran presence in the locker room, and that includes Hassan, what happened from it last year?
That was 1 year. That's just throw that year away. I mean,
okay. You and I both, Scott.
Outside of that year, though, there was 1 year. And, again, it's still veteran presence is a thing. Like, it is a thing. So when BG's going next year, you need some – I mean, we're going to have, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis running the locker room?
Yeah, that's –
Hassan's the one I would rather keep because he's proven successful. He can get it. And I think he can play to 33.
Well, what I would tell you is, Scott –
for 3 games and still finish with 11 sacks.
What I would say to you is that the worst collapse in franchise history, arguably, considering what the expectations were, occurred with Kelsey, Graham, Cox, Lane Johnson, Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham, all in the room.
Oh,
The
so you
worst
mean
co-
leadership doesn't mean all that much when
No.
things are spiraling out of control?
No, what I'm saying is,
Like,
is that
I equate it
it's
to being,
too
I'm sorry.
much. That's all right.
I equate it to being a good parent. So for most of your life, you're a good parent. You get your kid, whatever, and one of your kids starts spiraling out of control, and you're trying to get things back on track, and it takes a while, and it's hard, and you're dealing with another individual. It's sometimes that happens in the sporting world. Like, things spiraled out of control last year. I don't care if you're Jason Kelsey, Hassan Reddick, Lane Johnson, whatever, and you stand up in front of a room and say, "Come on, we got to get this thing right." Okay, words are great. It's like some idiot in the media around here said that speech by A.J. Brown was going to be the season turner. Well, if you didn't know that that's not how season turns around, you shouldn't be commenting on it. Like, sometimes things spiral out of control. Like I said to you, when are leaders at their best? When things are going well.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's when we really point out the leaders. So, not saying that they're not leaders and all that stuff, but sometimes that's not good enough. Like, it has to be play first, leadership maybe second.
We are going to give you your opportunity to win another chance to play in Knockout, the Fanatics Knockout Tournament. You're going to win a pair of tickets to see the Sixers take on the Clippers on Wednesday, March 27th. And after the game, you're going to head to the court to battle your favorite Fanatic hosts in a game of knockouts. So visit 975thefanatic.com for complete details and another chance to win. It's all presented by Ferguson HVAC, your Delaware Valley Train heating and air conditioning distributor. Visit train.com to find a dealer near you. So we're 2 weeks till opening day today. Pat, Pulse? Feeling it?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, come on, Pat.
2 weeks.
Sorry.
Pat, it's
Gotta
2
get
weeks.
there.
No, you can continue to tell me how long it's. No, it's not going to matter.
Put up one.
No.
Put on a stirrup today.
It's going to be
All right?
76.
A stirrup today. Another stirrup
No.
tomorrow.
Nope.
Nah, he's
Oh,
wearing his
man.
pants down today. 70.
What?
It is 76 degrees today, Pat. If that doesn't get you ready for opening
that's
day.
cool. But it doesn't get me ready for opening day, no. Because, I mean, Philly opening day usually is rainy and drab.
Well, hopefully it won't be. It'll be like Bob's wedding day every year. It's always gorgeous. Well, 2 weeks to opening day, and Kyle Schwarber scratched with right groin tightness. This team, it's been a quiet spring training. And I know that, Pat, you and I do this with NFL preseason. We literally, watch games and just hold our breath and say, oh, everybody okay?
Yep.
Good. No injuries.
Yeah.
Kyle Schwarber with right groin tightness. I don't like that. I don't like hearing that in March.
2 weeks.
But hopefully it's
You're
not
fine.
something big.
If it was like a week out, I'd be a little more concerned. But 2 weeks out, he'll be all right.
Yeah, and the quotes where he went to Thompson, said, I can play. I just felt it a little bit in the weight room. And he said, nah, I'm not going to play it today. He said he's day-to-day. He's not concerned about it. So I think it's fine.
Here's the part that bothered me about it, though. They said the tightness came from playing in the outfield. That's
Well, he
why
shouldn't be there. So,
I
yeah,
mean,
that's a
come
good
on.
sign.
Come on now. You should be able to play in the outfield, right?
God,
You're a professional athlete.
Was I listening to the game or watching? I think I was listening to a game this past weekend. He was in left field. And I was like the first batter of the game. And they're like, fly ball, left field. Uh-oh. It looks like Schwarber has no idea where it is. No, he doesn't. It falls, 10 feet behind him. Yeah, that's good. That's a sign from God saying, no, you don't do the outfield thing. You hit, and that's all.
The groin
Yeah.
starts acting up.
Yeah, I'll mess with your groin some more if you try to get out in that outfield.
Please don't do that. But it's the one thing I look forward to in spring training. Quiet.
You've
Just
had
quiet.
it.
Last year we didn't have it. Remember, Ranger couldn't get his visa thing worked out. Then he plays for the World Baseball Classic, and he ends up injured in that. And we just start out with drama. I want drama-free spring trainings, and so far this has been so quiet, and it doesn't appear like this is going to be anything big.
No.
But every single time I hear something in spring training, it always gives me anxiety going, oh, come on.
No, it's okay.
Let's not have anything step into this.
Like, we have to I'll never forget this. So you probably remember, John, when you were coaching, and Pat when you were playing, and I know when I was playing and coaching and stuff. First couple days of practice, you're sore as hell. Like, you get sore, and I talk to NBA players. I'll never forget might have been my first training camp, and somebody walked in the locker room before and was like walking like they were walking on nails. I'm like, you all right? And he's like, I'm sore as hell. Now, we didn't get to see the full practices, and I was like, yeah, they ran us to death. Like, they're normal athletes. They get sore. They don't just come in and boom, they're ready to go. So training camp for some of these guys, like Schwarber, playing in outfield and running after balls, that's probably a little strenuous for him. Something he hasn't done all that much. So a groin tweak.
They literally laughed about it on the like chuckled about it a little bit on the broadcast.
Yeah, he's fine.
Like
I'm not worried about that at all.
Playing the outfield was a little strenuous for him.
Yeah,
You know, it
well,
caused him,
it's
look,
strenuous for us too.
Hey, you know what's not strenuous? Go hit your 45 home runs and everything. That just whatever
yeah,
you've
that
got.
way you can jog around the bases.
Whatever you've got to do to be able to do that, that's what this team needs you to do. So that would be the happiest thing for everybody if Kyle is okay, and so that'll be great. 2 weeks to opening day. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to fall into I'm going to be excited about it, and I'm going to count down every single day.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
I cannot wait.
Now I wouldn't mind the 76 being there on opening day either.
Yeah,
The
I
beautiful
remember
weather.
going to an opening day. Was it Harper's first year, Pat? Did you go over with us? I know Andrew was there.
I did not.
Okay, and I think it was and Harper
You missed
hit a home
Harper's
run.
opening day?
Yeah.
He was probably
That's not
working.
like you.
I don't
Were you
like
working?
opening day. No, I don't know if I was working or not, but opening day never. I always thought it was an overrated game to attend.
To me, I would say that it's opening day. A lot of times, it sort of comes off like New Year's Eve to a lot of people. I know a lot of people with Pats
Amateurs.
that it's like amateur day. Like you get a lot of people who maybe won't go to a game the rest of the year.
I just love the opening day
I
of
love
every
it.
season.
I don't wanna
Basketball,
ever miss it.
baseball, hockey, football. Yeah, an opening day in baseball is special. I do. I like it. I really do. Maybe I'm an amateur. I don't know, Pat.
This guy cashed in, and he deserves to be in a conversation with a lot of the all-time greats. John Kincade Show on The Fanatic.
Fanatics.
From Pat, Jake Elliott cashing in with a new contract extension.
Attaboy, Jake.
Love it. Jake the Make cashes in, gets his contract. He's amongst the now highest paid kickers in the game, highest 3. And I would, again, say I still think that there are people who will tell me no, but I think he's the best kicker in the franchise's history. And he's every bit as dominant as Kelsey and Cox. And he has still time to go. When the story's told at his position, nobody thinks of kickers as players. But when the story is told of what he's accomplished, he will be every bit as, at his position, what Kelsey and Cox are, who just retired, at their position. And he still has long chapter to write of his effectiveness. We've never had a weapon like this from long range, ever.
Well, yeah, from long range, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been he's incredibly accurate. And the clutch kicks from long distance are incredible. Like that Buffalo game last year. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
In the pouring rain and the wind and everything, and managing to do that?
You're up 5 points in the Super Bowl in his rookie year.
That was huge.
And he kicks a 47-yarder to put him up 8. Yeah, that was big too. I have problems putting a kicker in the same sentences as Kelsey and Cox.
Well, that's why I said at his position group,
okay,
he's every bit as dominant. And he will be I think he already is, but he will be the best when this thing is hung up. And it is it's nice to see them take care of that weapon, because it is a weapon. That is something you need to have. It's nice to know that when you get to a certain point, you pretty much have 3 in the bank. And his extra points have been fantastic, too. It was in the beginning when they switched the extra point up. Pat, didn't he have a little shift in the beginning?
Yeah, he had a stretch there where he was weird, where he struggled within like 30 yards and under. He was meh. And then the long-range stuff, he was great. And then he put it all together last year, and he was phenomenal.
It was absolutely a huge weapon, and congratulations to Jake for getting paid. So tonight on The Fanatic, the 76ers visiting the Bucks and Doc Rivers. And I know nothing of what to expect. I've given up trying to figure it out. I do not know what you're going to expect because, you know, like when I watch Doc Rivers and the Bucks come in here, they pretty much ran him out of the building on that Sunday afternoon game.
I don't know. Like I said, we talked about it so long ago. There's no identity to this team right now, and you're just getting Tyrese Maxey back. He said he wasn't good the other night against New York in his first game back after a concussion. But he healed. You put him on the bench. It seemed like he may have found a stroke and then didn't do much the other night. You got 2 really loud points from Tobias Harris in 26 minutes. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't even look at the line tonight. I would assume it's near double figures, if it isn't double figures. It's just you got to show up, you got to play, and you got to hope to get a win. But that's all it is right now is hope. It seems
that's all you can do. It is just hope as this thing continues to plummet. Look, you're already in the playoffs. There's no way you're falling out of the playoffs. But right now, I don't see any way possible they're not in the play-in tournament. And so all I'm going to look forward to now is the excitement of experiencing something differently. You were talking about yesterday, Pat, the idea is, are you more excited for, a Flyers playoffs or a Sixers playoffs? I am excited about one thing with the Sixers, and my answer is Flyers, is the idea that the one-and-done game, that sort of Russian roulette of you could be in, you could be out, to me is pretty exciting. That'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, it's exciting because it's win or go home.
Right.
But I just still don't think if they win, they're doing much.
No.
I mean, the bottom's going to drop out eventually because they just don't have the time. It's unfortunate. The timing of Joel Embiid's injury could not have happened at a worse time in terms of giving you hope. The hope is what kills you.
No, I mean, it's absolutely atrocious. The timing of this thing was absolutely terrible. Not that there's ever a good time.
No.
For Joel Embiid to be injured. But
like,
I mean, I
if
get
it was October, November, December, and you got time to get him back and get back in the swing of things, it's way different than right now where he's not ready to go. There hasn't been an update. The update that we got from Ramona Shelburne is not great. And it's okay, well, he hopes to come back in the last week. We all know Joel Embiid and his conditioning and whatnot. He's not going to get back into shape in a week.
No.
Well, yeah, it's from now to this is the questions that have to be asked. It's from now until the end of until that last week. What is he doing? I mean, what is he doing right now? You can't tell me on court activities without me saying what are they? Is he running up and down the floor? Like, where are you ramping it up to? Are you saying that he's going to be in physical condition to play an NBA game in the last week of the season? Or are you saying that's pretty much the first time he's going to get on the court? Because I find it hard to believe they're going to throw him on a court without him proving that he can go 25, 30 minutes a game in conditioning up to that point. So where is he? What, he's doing on-court activities, and we hope to have him last month of the season. That's a no bleep, Sherlock. Like, we said that when he was getting surgery. So, I'd like to know where he is. I'd like to have an update of just what he's doing right now.
So, also, too, Flyers tonight host Toronto, and Toronto will be in twice in a week, which is just weird scheduling, again, that the Maple Leafs come in twice in a week. You're going to hear that game tonight on WMMR as the Sixers are playing here on the Fanatics. So, Flyers looking for another win and continuing to get help. They are, Washington going down in flames again last night. So some things are really falling into place for the Flyers here in this playoff push. But you just want to get cash as many points as you can in here in this stretch and then try to see what you can become.
It's a tough stretch, as we pointed out last week. You had 9 of the 10 teams that you were playing were ahead of you in points for this season.
The next 7 games are all against teams like that.
Yeah. So you got to make your mark. I mean, they get brutalized 7-0 over the weekend, and then come back against a bad team in a game you had to win, and you did it. So that you accomplished what you needed to accomplish. 3-2 win over a bad team isn't something you're going to brag about, but it is something you had to do. And now you go at it again tonight with a good Toronto team coming in here again without your coach behind the bench. It's another game that you kind of learn the identity of this team, right?
Well, 16 games to go, and here's the number for you here is, again, the next 7 games for the Flyers, they play teams that have more points than them. So this is a real step up in competition. I would almost look at this as a preview of, even though it's different teams, how would they be able to compete in a playoff series against a really good team? But here's the good news. After those 7 games are done, in their final 9 games, the Flyers only play one team that has more points than them. So the last 9 games is a much, much more doable stretch. So hopefully that'll help the Flyers down the stretch. We will keep posted on it, and hopefully Flyers move closer and closer to a playoff berth, which would, to me, just be absolutely incredible.
Oh, it's happening. They're going to make the playoffs. Yeah, no
so
question.
Much fun. It just is. It would be great. 7 a.m. hour is brought to you by the BetParx app. I love it, the official winning partner of your Philadelphia 76ers. Sportsbook and casino in one sleek, easy-to-use app in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I was looking yesterday again at the over-under numbers for baseball teams, and I'm going to get some advice from the boys a little bit later as we look at the NL East in some of those wagering opportunities there. But as we look again at where the Eagles are right now in the offseason, there is a question as, does winning the offseason, have you heard from people before that winning the offseason, it doesn't matter? Like, how many teams have been good that win the offseason, go and win free agency? You hear it mocked all the time. But Hembo, Westchester's own Hembo from ESPN, said he went and did the research. And he went the last 10 seasons and free agent spending across the last 10 seasons. He plucked out the top 3 spenders and the bottom 3 spenders each year by guaranteed money. So it's 60 total teams. This is a lot of data, and it's actually over a long period of time. The top spenders, their wins per year jumped 2.1 wins average. The bottom spenders, they improved by 1.4 wins in a negative direction. They went down. So honestly, if you spend in free agency, and if you're the top spenders, so it's the top 3 teams that spend in free agency every single year for 10 years, their average win total jumps 2.1 wins a year. The bottom three spenders over a 10-year period, they drop an average of 1.4 wins a year. So where people will say to you, winning free agency doesn't mean anything. Spending big in free agency doesn't mean anything. Well, it actually does win on average 2.1 wins a year for the top spending teams in free agency. And that's great work by Hembo. So it actually does work.
This just in, you bring in the better players, you're going to get better.
Yeah, but people always say that. Oh, you don't want to win. Oh, yeah, free agency. Who wins
Who
in free agency?
doesn't want to win anything? You want to win everything. I want to win free agency. I want to win the rock, paper, scissors contest against Nick Sirianni. I want to win football games. I want to win best quarterback in the league. I want to win best offensive line. Like, you always want to win, sure. People that say it doesn't matter if you win something, really? Like, that's what sports is. It's winning. And so, yeah, I assume if you pay the most amount of money, that means you're bringing in the best players. I assume that's going to make your team better, right? Like, there's going to be some failures. You're going to overpay for somebody. There could be some teams that, oh, man, they spent a lot of money and those players didn't come through. Okay, but, yeah, I agree with him that on the average, if you spend money, I assume your team's going to get better.
But you hear that all the time, though. People saying, go in and buy, and they're absolutely wrong.
Like, I don't know
over and over
who in
again
their
wrong.
right mind would say, you know what? The more money you spend to get better players, you're not winning. What? If I get better players on my team, how am I not making myself better?
Well, I
don't understand those people that you're talking about.
I would prefer it to be not in free agency to be re-upping your own players, which they're still doing. But I'd prefer that you don't have to go in. Because what does free agency mean to you? To me, it means you're correcting a mistake that you didn't address in drafting. That's when I think free agency. You're addressing something that you didn't draft well for.
Yeah, that or a player ran out of time, a player retiring, a player getting a career injury. Not necessarily just mistakes, but, yeah, it's sports. You're going to have to, restock the shelves all the time. That's what you do. Like, we've seen it with quarterbacks here over the last 5 years. We've seen it with every position here. When it comes to football, when it comes to everything, you're always restocking. You're always looking to get better at every position.
I always think of free agency, though, as you didn't draft something well, so you have to now go and pay more to fix it. That's what you're doing. If you had drafted well, you'd be getting the cheaper talent. And you can't draft well at every position. You can't. It's like
show me a team that has more draft picks playing for them than free agents.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Green Bay is one of those organizations that tends to have a lot of their draft picks stick around.
Especially a quarterback.
But also, too, they haven't been a team that has really put up the same level of success over a sustained period of time as the Birds. Do you look at it the same way, Pat, or are you looking at it as more as you're swinging for the fences, maybe?
I mean, at times you're swinging for the fences, but, yeah, you look at the impact of free agents in every league, but in the NFL and on Super Bowl teams. And, yeah, I don't know how you don't get pumped when your team spends money and spends it wisely. So,
and they have spent money wisely in the past in free agency.
Yeah, they've been pretty good.
People will point to the Dream Team year, which was atrocious.
Yeah, but, even the Dream Team year, like, they spent big on Nnamdi, obviously, but, like, a lot of the guys they brought in they were big names, but they were complementary pieces. The guy that coined the phrase Dream Team was a backup quarterback in Vince Young. So, Ronnie Brown gets mentioned. He was supposed to be the backup running back. Like, it was more about the big names coming in, but those big names, I felt like a lot of them weren't really expected to do much other than be, depth. And it was like ring chasing. But, Nnamdi being the biggest one, and he was obviously a disaster.
When you look at it, Pat, though, you think that Howie has had underrated moves, though, also.
Well, yeah. I mean, every GM has, and he's been a GM for a while. But what do you guys think is his most underrated move he's made?
Now, you're taking Nick Foles out.
Right? Yes. I'm going to take Nick Foles out of it.
Most underrated move?
Yeah, most underrated move he's made.
It's his whole resume, right?
Yeah, whole resume, trades, signings, waiver claims, draft picks. What's the most underrated one he's made? And Nick Foles is gone because that's the obvious one.
I think Jay Ajayi trade at the trade deadline, coming up on that, was one that I do believe that helped push this team over the top as one of those moves that just made them, that offense took to a whole nother gear. And all those, like Denver blowout, the Chicago blowout, I forget who else they were boat racing teams that year. I think that's one that a lot of people forget because it was such a short period of time when Jay Ajayi came in here.
Yeah, we went nuts on the air when they signed him. That was pretty cool. I might have to Jordan Mailata, or does that get overplayed that he was a rugby player?
No, I mean that's a great one. Yeah, that's definitely.
I mean, he's probably going to be your left tackle for the next 10 years.
There had to be one top of mind for you, Pat.
Yeah, Jake Elliott.
That's a great one.
He's drafted by the Bengals, and those nerds released him. What?
And they
what
drafted him.
idiots?
And
They drafted him. And like morons, they draft him in the 5th round, and then they go, you know what? He's not really living up to the expectations. Yeah, we'll put him on waivers. And now he goes, okay, and picks him up, and now he's in a conversation for possibly the best kicker in franchise history.
Yeah.
Picks him up during the season, if I'm not mistaken.
It was
right?
like week 1 or 2.
Because what's his face got hurt,
Caleb
and then
Sturgis, I think.
Yeah, and then you bring him in, and he kicks
his face?
he kicks the 61 or 2 yarder against
61.
the Giants the next week.
Yeah, I think that's going to go down as Howie's biggest.
That's a
coup
good one.
Is claiming Jake Elliott off of waivers from the idiot Bengals.
Is an underrated move though, Malcolm Jenkins? Is that considered underrated or
I
not?
don't. I mean, this is. I mean, it's whatever you want, but I would go with personally no because they signed him early on in free agency. But his impact on the team, no one expected that.
I think it was what I expected Malcolm Jenkins to be and what Malcolm Jenkins became is absolutely different. And I loved the move when they did it. But remember, they were looking at other guys too. And
Yeah, that dude from the Jets was
and went up and went with Malcolm Jenkins, and boy, he was just absolutely tremendous. Howie has so many.
Ooh, here's a good one, Patrick Robinson.
That's a great one.
That is a really, really good one.
He was a key part of that team.
Yeah, and he was brought in late.
He was almost
late
released.
that season. Yeah,
Was
exactly.
he brought in August?
I don't remember, but he was. I
I
remember
thought it was like
he-
a couple weeks before the season.
I remember.
That's
he
what I'm
was,
saying.
He was
Like,
almost. I know. I think he was brought in before that, but he was almost released because he wasn't doing all that great. And then they moved him to the inside, and he flourished there.
That Minnesota interception return for a touchdown was just one of the best moments ever. That building, and I know Jamie's talked about it before, is that building shook. It was because it didn't start well. That first drive was the hot knife through butter. The Eagles' first possession, Zach Ertz doesn't get his feet in, tapping it in, and they have to kick it back. And then here they are, they're moving again. And that return was just so electric. Absolutely awesome. What a great moment.
people, I don't know if they forget, but Eagles down 7-0. Minnesota's driving again when they get that play. And it was Chris Long, I think, that got his hand, his hand on the chest. And,
it's really pretty awesome, though, the way that Howie's resume has its misses. And like any general manager, misses sometimes tend to get the more chatter, the more talk. But we started today talking about the linebacker position. But overall, he has done a brilliant job. And he's really done a good job of finding guys in the, look, Bradbury was a big part of them getting to the Super Bowl 57. And he was a big part of that team. I absolutely would not have re-upped him. And I was banging the drum for that. But I thought that he got a great return on that investment, jumping in on him and finding him on the market. The mistake was, I think, re-upping him at that price. But I think he's fixed it out.
Yeah, after that season that they had and the career years that almost everybody had on defense, I at least I wasn't bad at bringing everybody back that they did. I wasn't. Yeah, it's good in hindsight by you, but I didn't after the career years that everybody had. I thought you could have run it back. But, yeah.
I just didn't want two guys. The oldest quarterback tandem in the NFL, I was like, no. You can't do that, and there's a reason why teams don't do it. You just, at some point, it's going to come back and burn you. Did I think he would fall off the map like that? No. Absolutely not. But I did not want that. I did not want that kind of old cornerback tandem. But hopefully things are going to change. Hopefully now they do have somebody. And two, when I hear people talk, and the name comes up a lot, Keely Ringo. I like Keely Ringo as a player, but I don't know what he is as a player at the NFL level. I haven't
Neither
seen.
do they, really.
Yeah, I mean, but when I hear people mention well, they got Keely Ringo's there, and I'm like, okay, Keely Ringo was a really, really nice college player. Do I know if he can be a real major contributor at the NFL level? No, I'm not sure.
Well, there's only one way you find out.
You got to throw him in.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going to hopefully have to do. But we'll talk to Jeff Kerr coming up from CBS Sports as we look at everything that is on the agenda for the Eagles as this offseason continues. It has been it's been a bit of a blur already. There's been a lot going on and a lot of moves coming your way. So Bob wants to ask about the most important player for this team down the stretch. It's the John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic.
and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Appreciate you hanging out with us. Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports joins us coming up at 8 a.m. today. And then we'll have game time at 8:30. Is it life-changing prizes, Pat?
I guess we'll find out.
So that's a tease.
He's very protective when it comes to game time. You know, you can't ask him anything about it. He got like this morning, you heard, he came walking out and said, "Hey, Pat, what's game time today?" "Stop with the questions." He started screaming at me.
A little salty.
Yeah, that's okay.
It was a little salty.
It's his pet.
I don't need the Spanish Inquisition going on at 5:15 in the morning. You'll find out when you find out.
Do you do that to, like, Jack, too? Dad, what's for dinner?
You'll find
You'll
out.
find out when you eat it.
Find out.
Put it right in front of you, and then you're going to eat it.
Much like game time, I figured that out about an hour beforehand. So
Your game times are very well executed, though, so I'm shocked that you do that an hour beforehand. It's amazing.
sometimes 45 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes.
All right, so we do have a playoff stretch going on now for a team here in Philadelphia. And no, I'm not talking about the Sixers. I'm not talking about the battle for positioning in the play-in tournament. Get back, Joel. We need you. Please be healthy. Bob, you're more talking about the Flyers down the stretch.
Yeah.
And I can't. I got to tell you, I'm more excited by the minute for this playoff push as it continues.
Yeah, they're fun. Like if you really dive into what they're trying to do and what Tortorella has said he's trying to build here and how they're going about it, and the Keith Jones and the Danny Briere and all of those things, it's interesting. Then you throw in that they're far over exceeding in play this year and putting themselves in a playoff spot where nobody really thought about it. That's cool too. And you forget about the turmoil. Being, that your goalie that you got a few years ago that you thought was the goalie of the future probably won't play in this organization ever again. He gets taken out midseason. You have to go to a rookie backup goalie who has been pretty good. It's all that interesting. So you look at this and you get more and more interested as it goes on. Take out the goalie. Who's the most important player for this Flyers team down the stretch? I mean, Pat brings up a great point. Like, I'm high on Ersan. He's not as much because he says it's the type of defense that Tortorella preaches, and it's always going to make a goalie look better.
I do believe Pat's incredibly right with that.
So there's,
gives him
there's
a good chance to succeed.
There's a defensive aspect to it. There's an offensive aspect to it. There's a leadership aspect to it. Who's your most important player for the Flyers, going down this stretch to try to get into the playoffs?
Well, to me, it has to be, Pat, exactly what we're talking about there. It's got to be somebody on defense because the defense is so banged up right now. Trying to figure out who's going to be healthy on night after night is a big deal for this team right now. They've been in terrible shape right now, the way this has been going.
It's they've been a bit injured.
They are so banged up. To me, that is a huge thing down the stretch. There's a chance. That's why I refuse to just believe that everyone's like, yeah, just pencil them in. They're in the playoffs. This defense is so battered right now. There's not a team in the NHL that has the injuries right now that they have on defense. So that is my biggest concern would be on defense. So can one of the young guys step up? Can one of the young players maybe do things that we're not expecting of them down the stretch? I'm not sure. Can you get anything out? Is Mark Stahl going to give you the kind of things that you feel good about?
No.
No.
Let's stop there.
If he's even
What I'm saying
thought
is right
to be
now-
your most
yeah, but-
important player, no.
Yeah, but I mean, is it right now? You've got a bunch of kids back there that are just hopefully. I mean, it could be as simple as who's going to come back healthy. Are you going to get a Jamie Drysdale back? Because I'd feel a hell of a lot better if that was going to happen.
So who's your most important player?
Well, this is
I
this
don't.
is
I
a
mean,
good
silence.
no, I
This
don't
is
know. I
just
don't.
silence, right?
I don't know. I really don't know because.
All right, I'll tell you. It's Sean Couturier. It's the captain. He hasn't had a great year. He's got
No, he's not.
35 points in like 60-something games. He's a former Selke winner. If you're going to be struggling with health on the back end, then you need a guy like Sean Couturier to continue to give you really good defense. But if he can add in some offense to his game, he's going to go. It's going to help this team a lot. But defensively, it's always going to be there for him. He's a really, really good good player, and he got named the captain. I don't know if that's messing with him or what. I kind of doubt it, but I think he's probably your most important guy. He's going to be your number one centerman in terms of the penalty kill, and he's going to be out there to take on most teams' number one line a lot of times because of his defensive ability. So if you've got a young goaltender, you've got more of a defensive-minded system, and your defense is banged up, Sean Couturier has got to be it.
How about, Pat, if you were able to get an upswing for the year out of Morgan Frost, and you were able to get more out of him?
I don't know how much more he's got in him. That's the thing.
No, but I mean, it's like
that's why I was hesitant to pick a younger player because
I mean
they're already getting a lot out of their younger players to begin with.
But he seems to be Frost is a guy that to me has huge upside. I know a lot of fan base isn't maybe as in on him.
Yeah.
But if they could get a big contribution out of him, it would help hugely because depth. If you're talking about a defense that is banged up, then you're going to need this offense to take a step forward. And their offense is not very good. That's one of the things is they don't. I mean, like I was talking about earlier, is the worst power play in the NHL.
Yeah, that's going to be a
incredible.
hindrance. That's tough.
They have one sniper, and it's Owen Tippett, and he's been a sniper since juniors, and that's about it. Tyson Forster.
Yeah, you hope he
supposed
becomes
to be.
yeah.
Well,
but
Forster's been a real.
He's got to develop into that. And other than that, they don't have the natural goal scorer that you that a lot of really good teams have. They're just a gritty hockey team.
Yeah, the reason
it's not going to be pretty.
The reason I don't go Couturier, sorry, Pat, is I think this team needs a toughness. And I think it follows toughness. If I see Couturier go into a corner one more time with one hand on the stick, reaching in I don't want to touch anybody, but let me get my stick in there. I don't think that's the way they want to play. I think it's Travis Konechny. I think it's his playmaking, his feistiness. I think that's kind of a guy that they look to and go, all right, yeah, and come playoff time, you're going to need that. You're going to need the toughness, the feistiness, all of that. I think that's the guy that might be his playmaking ability. You know, the way he set up Tippett the other night for that game winner, that was great. Yeah, he's the guy. I understand why Couturier got the captaincy. I wonder, true serum given to the players, who would you rather have, Konechny or Couturier? I wonder how close it would be. But to me, it's Konechny. Yeah, there's probably a lot of answers here.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of guys who are, like when you're talking about Konechny, I mean, you're talking about Couturier, Lawton, that are all in the similar sort of numbers-wise. They're all sort of like similar type players as far as production. This team what they've done with the offense that they possess is truly incredible. I mean, what he is squeezing out of this lemon is really incredible. It's sort of an unexpected. If you had shown me these offensive numbers for the Flyers, I wouldn't have expected them to be going to be a team that was going to the playoffs. I really wouldn't. This is
No, I don't think many people would.
Not if you said to me, here are the blind numbers on where the Flyers, as far as goals scored and things like that, I would be like, the league's worst power play. I don't think I would have picked them to be a playoff team. And they have managed to surprise. But they need offensive bolstering in the future, which they've done a nice job of. And they have as many wins on the road as they have at home, which is another thing that just is absolutely mind-boggling to me, how good this team has been on the road. And that's another testament to John Tortorella. So Flyers hockey tonight on WMMR. You can catch that game. And that should be an exciting one as the Flyers host the Toronto Maple Leafs. It'll be second time in a week that they will host Toronto. They'll have them again next week here in Philadelphia, which is just weird. The Sixers taking on the Bucks tonight. And obviously we have been, beaten to death the idea of what are they going to do. But, Pat, you had an idea about a big mistake that the Sixers made. And honestly, I think it could have made this run here a lot better.
I think you probably could have added maybe 2 wins to this. I mean, not a lot.
Yeah, maybe, but sure.
But something better. So, trade deadline comes and goes, and they add Campaign and Buddy Hield, and that was it. And they sent out, big in Marcus Morris, who looked good for the team. I've never been a Marcus Morris fan. That dude irks the hell out of me. But he fit in well with this squad, and he was playing at a really, really high level with the team. But it was mainly with Joel Embiid. But that's all they did. They basically get a guard, and then that was their deadline. And then in the veteran buyout market, they went out and they got a guard. And I can't help but sit here and go, did they just mess up by not addressing backup big and backup center? Because they traded one of them in Morris, and then they decide, okay, even though we know that Joel Embiid probably won't be back until after the season, we're going to continue to go with a Paul Reed, Mo Bamba combo, and that's going to get us to where we need to be.
Did they get blindsided? Potentially?
I don't know if they got blind. I mean, how do you get blindsided?
No, where they thought they had somebody that they were going to be able to get.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then it didn't happen because it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Like they thought, because I'm telling you this, and Daryl Morey, there's a lot of things that Daryl Morey does very well, but one of them is not the veteran buyout market. It has been, I hear every year, well, there's the veteran buyout market. For whatever reason, the Sixers cannot attract people in the veteran buyout
and
market.
that's a huge part of it. Is I don't think he is bad at it because he tries. It's more of just the team, the destination. It's annoying to me that you've got Andre Drummond out there. He didn't get traded, but you do have him out there, and you couldn't find something that the Chicago Bulls wanted for Andre Drummond when the Chicago Bulls aren't doing anything. The only good thing I can think of with everything that's going on with this team is you might be able to get out of Paul Reed's contract because he's owed $15 million over the next 2 years, and you've got.
If they lose, what is it? If they lose in the first round,
if they lose in the first round,
and that's
or
the first round of the playoffs, by the way, not the
the play-in tournament. It's the first
that doesn't matter, correct?
Yeah, so they could win the play-in tournament, and if they lose in the next round, they can get out of the contract. That might be a blessing in disguise because $15 million over 2 years, you paid on potential. He hasn't really lived up to it, and you've got guys like Andre Drummond out there for $3.5 million as a backup big, and he's better. So I can't help but sit here and watch and go like, man, they kind of messed that up a little bit by not just going out and getting somebody and going guard heavy at the deadline.
I think they messed it up a lot. Like they didn't mess. Like I don't think they messed it up a little. I think they messed it up a lot.
Well, what's your big mess up? What's your biggest mess up?
Is that you didn't think that Joel Embiid could get injured?
Yeah, but even if you take him out and you get an Andre Drummond in here, and he is a far better upgrade, from Paul Reed and Mo Bamba. But like, what are you doing with Andre Drummond? I don't know. Like, are you a 500 team? Are you?
You're
putting him in
the lineup, and you're letting him play basketball.
I think you've won a couple more. I think you've won a couple
Probably
more games.
Like Pat said,
Pat said, two or three more. By the way, 2 or 3 more is going to make a big difference, and it may be the difference between you being in the play-in tournament or out of the play-in tournament.
Yeah, the biggest mistake is that Joel Embiid got hurt. Like, that's just what it is. And that, I think I do it. I know I do it. So I'm not going to speak for you guys or the people listening or the YouTubers, but I almost have gotten to the point that I forgot how good he was this year. Like you get all tied into what do they have now? What are they doing? Well, where's Buddy Hield? Where's Tobias Harris? Can Maxey carry a team, from that position? And then you look and you remember, oh, man, that's right. Joel Embiid was averaging over 35 points a game in 34 minutes.
It was the best.
He was averaging 11 and a half rebounds. He was averaging close to 6 assists.
He sat out
like
13
this guy was
fourth quarters.
Phenomenal. Yeah, because they were up so much, or if we listen to Pat Beverly, that's all he had to give. And he came out and said, "Look, I haven't been right for the last 2 months." When he got hurt, how good is this guy? I don't know if he's telling the truth, but it's bothering him, I guess. How good is this guy if he could be fully healthy? So I do. I forget how really great he was this year, and it takes a team to the depths of where the Sixers are right now.
It's been the biggest. This is the biggest letdown. It really is. It's the absolute biggest.
Bigger
letdown.
than the Eagles last year?
I think the Eagles, I had a build up to it. Like we were seeing it. Like I thought they would beat Tampa in that playoff game, but I didn't have any expectations past that. The build-up for the Sixers was looking so incredible with Nick Nurse. It was looking like there was reason to believe this year was going to be different.
Yeah, I think the Eagles was bigger because you didn't lose players. You lost games.
Oh, that's
you
a
know
good
what I
one.
mean? Like Joel Embiid, when he got hurt, did any of us anticipate, oh, they're going to be fine? No, you have a solid reason. You can put your thumbprint on why the Sixers' downfall happened this year. Depressing or however you want to label it, yeah, it's that. But the reason is there. The Eagles, yeah, maybe we saw hints, but they were 10-1. And then they lost 6 of their last 7, and you're like, what in the holy hell happened here? We still don't really know. You know, they changed coordinators and coaches and all this, but you didn't lose players. And the players went out there and lost 6 of 7. That's the bottom line. So I would categorize their fall as bigger than what has happened to the Sixers this year.
Now, Pat, we get an underrated move sent in by cousin Matt for your earlier conversation on Howie Roseman.
Yeah.
He said, how did you guys not bring up drafting Hurts? That's a completely underrated move because he did something that
It was the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, I don't know, Matt. You want my job? I don't know. I don't know why I didn't think of it, Matt.
Well, we all didn't think of it.
I don't know. I thought of it because Jake Elliott got extension yesterday and Jalen Hurts didn't. Is that what you want me to say? That's what I thought of, bud.
You put us to all of it. I mean, that's got to be the underrated move of underrated moves because they didn't need it, but they did need it. We didn't think at the time that they needed it. That's what everyone said. Why are you doing this? You don't need it. You have your quarterback of the future. You've had that guy. And Howie had the foresight to say, well, maybe we don't have the guy that we think.
Yeah, I would love to know. Did they see something? Was there, cracks in the armor? Was it lucky? Was it that's the best guy available, so that's why we took him? I remember sitting at home and hearing him take him going, oh, my God, are you kidding me? There's one person who went on record and said, I like it, and that was Jamie Lynch. Mm-hmm. He loved it from the beginning, doesn't think you can have enough quarterbacks, and it did work out. It is a good one, and I'm not lying. Honest to God, it did pop into my mind, but because he got to be so good, I was like, oh, can that be underrated? And I was looking for, like, guys that were taken really low.
Right.
I'll tell you
that's a good one.
I'll tell you right now.
Warning, this is a hot take.
Hot take city.
I will go to my grave saying that when you have a guy signed to the contract that Carson Wentz was signed to, drafting a quarterback in the second round is dumb every single time. And I don't care if it worked out. It's like going 100 miles an hour to beat traffic. Just because you arrived at your destination and you arrived early doesn't make it smart. And to me, that continues to be a dumb move. You took a guy that you prayed to God didn't play a snap in his rookie year, and you took him in the second round. Now it worked out, and there were cracks in the foundation, obviously, with Carson Wentz. But you could make the case that the drafting of Jalen Hurts ended up ruining Carson Wentz more than the injuries. So I will go to my grave saying, like, if they went into April and they took a quarterback in the second round this year, I'll tell you right now, it's a dumb move. I mean, because they have Jalen Hurts locked up. So I understand that it worked out, and I'm very happy it did. But I will never agree with that decision making.
Okay, last night we talked about it a little bit yesterday on the show. I asked Adam Schefter about it, and then it got brought up again yesterday. The Justin Fields thing. Justin Fields' name and the Eagles keep getting linked, and for a third-day draft pick, 5 seems to be the number. The Eagles have 3 fifth-round draft picks. If I had a chance right now to get Justin Fields for a fifth-round draft pick and paying him $2.5 million as your backup, when the Commodes are paying Marcus Mariota $6 million, sign me up. In fact, if that deal was ever on the table, if it was truly on the table, I think Howie would have already done it. He was in the running for Joe Flacco to be their backup quarterback.
I don't know if I'm Chicago. I'm not doing that if I'm Chicago.
Well, that seems to be the buzz, though, Pat, is that that's what he's being shopped for, a third-day draft pick, which doesn't make sense to me.
Not at all. I'm definitely not doing that if I'm them.
Yeah, not them, and I'm thinking about it if I'm the Eagles, too. I don't like what has Justin Fields showed you in the NFL? I mean, he's got like a 9-30 record, and he's, you talked about the importance of a backup the other day.
I'd feel better with him than Marcus Mariota every day.
Well, there's other backup
Sunday.
quarterbacks besides Marcus Mariota. I don't know. Justin Fields, book's still out on him. Maybe it'd be a good move. Bring him in here. and see what he can do as a backup. But are there better backups out there that you could go and get? Probably, right? Who would you rather have stepping in if Jalen Hurts got hurt?
Ryan Tannehill?
No.
Ryan
I would feel
Tannehill,
good.
Joe
Ryan
Flacco,
Tannehill. You don't.
No,
Flacco's done.
A
He's
lot
a
of the
Colt
guys that
now.
you were going to mention, I'm going to go no because they made a conscious effort last year, and one of the reasons they went to go get Mariota was they didn't want what happened when Jalen Hurts missed some time. Gardner Minshew comes in, and he can't really orchestrate the offense they wanted to because it's such a run-heavy quarterback offense.
And Fields
read
could.
option. Yeah, Fields could. I mean, Ryan Tannehill ain't doing that. Joe Flacco certainly ain't doing
it's
that.
Totally
so
different.
That's the thing. When they look at a backup quarterback, and I think they're probably going to draft one, but when they look at one, they're going to probably look at a mobile guy. So Justin Fields does make sense, and I would consider doing that if it wasn't for the fact that he's in the final year of his contract.
But reports are the Eagles did offer Joe Flacco a contract.
Yeah.
And he went to Indianapolis.
It was probably very cheap, thinking, all right, maybe we can get him in here, and he's a local guy, and he'll take the hometown discount. But I mean, look, there is a give and a take here. Like, I'll take Joe Flacco, even though he doesn't fit my offense, if he's willing to come in for $1.5 million.
Yeah, they gave him 4 the other year.
Yeah,
I wouldn't think you'd get him for less than 4. He ended up getting 8. He got 8. And
Way to go,
Must be
Joe.
nice.
I'm glad for him. I mean, I'm very happy for him. Mariota getting 6. I'm like, I just continue to just. There's just. It's a good life. A backup
good life.
quarterback's a good life.
I mean, you look at Charlie Whitehurst and Chase Daniel, and those guys they just cashed in.
They did.
Holding the clipboard. Doug Peterson is a good example of
Chase
that too.
Daniel's my idol.
Chase Daniel, I mean, he secured like $50 million
Oh, my gosh.
and left the game without CTE. Like that's the dream for every NFL player.
I'm going to get the boys to go on the record with a couple picks in the National League East. I might need a little help. I want to see if Bob and Pat agree with me on over-unders for the NL East contenders. We'll get to that coming up. John Kincade Show on 96. Clock today. Talk about all the moves that the Eagles have done in free agency and maybe what is interesting still on the shelves that they could be pursuing. We'll talk about some of that. Plus, also, we'll have game time coming up today at 8:30. Your chance to win fabulous prizes.
Pat, what's the game?
You'll find out at 8:30, I guess. Like,
And-
what about this is so difficult for you?
And I continue to be frustrated by Bob, too, Pat, just like you.
Wow.
Because I can't find that pullover. And
It's
I looked
nice.
at the Under Armour site even
On it,
during
I'll
the
give it
break,
to you.
and I can't find it.
He,
Is
I
it
know,
really
I'd
nice?
say it was a Christmas present.
I told Bob today he's all templed up.
It's a nice looking, and that's why I want it because it's just in the Temple colors. It looks sharp. Bob's he's taking off. No, you do not have to be close.
Good, I don't care.
Don't do that.
Don't-
It's a
please
nice
don't-
looking.
please don't. Stop
Especially it was
tripping.
a Christmas gift too, which is beautiful. That you've got good gift givers on your list, obviously. All right, think ahead. Pat doesn't want to get into the mood, but you're 2 weeks till opening day for the Phillies. I'm already there. I'm checked in. I'm ready for it. And one of the things I'm trying to do is to Sky. I love my favorite thing on the betting apps. Absolute favorite is season bets over-unders. I love trying to do the research and go, what are the best over-unders for teams? Who do you bet over? Who do you bet under? So I just wanted to look at the NL East today and where he stands. So what I did is I got a consensus of all the different sports books that we work with. And I got a consensus on the number yesterday for each of the teams. And we're going to start with the team with the highest number, and that's the Braves. The consensus number is 101.5 wins. 101.5. I have a thought on this, and I wanted to see where you guys land on this. If my thought, I will tell you what mine is and what is yours as far as 101.5 wins for the Braves. By the way, I wouldn't think this is one that I would want to bet. I probably would be absolutely staying away from this one. This will probably not be one of my bets.
Why is that?
Because I don't like to bet against good teams that I know are really good, even if I have a hunch. So 101.5, Bob. Where would you lean towards going with 101.5?
For the Braves, over.
Pat?
I would go under.
Okay, now, see, it helps because I go with Pat. My arrow was under. I have a feeling that the Mets will have a little more on them, and is what I'm trying to look at. The Marlins were scrappy last year, made the postseason, and I don't know with the Nationals. I would say they have to be better because they're young. They have it, but I would say they got to be better. But who knows? But the Braves 101. I would go under 101.5, but I am not going to bet that. Not going to take that bet because I don't like to bet really good teams to not meet their expectations.
All right.
The Phillies are second. The number's 89.5, which I find an incredibly suspicious number because it is the consensus across the boards. The highest number in the average, as I put it together, was 90.5. That seems very suspicious to me for a Phillies team that appears to be pretty loaded. I am absolutely betting the over. Absolutely without hesitation betting the over. Yet they've watched, I think the experts have watched the Phillies the last 2 years with really, really good teams, and this is just about where they end up.
Yeah, I like the over on 89.5. I think they're a 92, 93 at least win team. It does make you think, why? Why do they have it that low?
That is low.
Yeah, what did they win last year? Were they 90 and 72?
92? Was it, or is it 90?
92 and 70 or 90 and 72? One of those.
I know
There was
Connor
only a
got
way
it
we-
exactly right on the numbers. I was off by one. But, Pat, where do you go on 89.5? I think I know where you're going.
I will go under.
You're going under.
No, I'm kidding. I'll go over.
Oh, okay, please.
Yeah, I'll go over.
So you go over.
Yeah, I think they're like a full season of a lot of these guys, health, all that. Division taking a little bit of a step back. Like I don't think the Mets do give up much of a fight. They're starting Jose Quintana opening day.
So you don't think the Mets are
No.
heading towards any kind of a bounce back?
No.
None at all.
Don't.
90 and 72 for the Phillies last season.
Wow.
Now, you got to believe with Turner, hopefully, starting the season off like Trey Turner, with a healthy Bryce Harper.
Yeah, that's my big reason of why I'm picking that. You have healthy Bryce Harper, but his power should be back too.
Yeah, exactly. And you have your starting pitching there's no, like you said it earlier, John, there's no drama coming out of this spring training.
No.
Here's your team. Everybody's healthy. Here you go.
That seems
yeah,
like a weird number.
It does. I wonder what they take into consideration for that.
All right, the Mets number's 81.5. I'm going under. And I think that's where I'm leaning.
Yeah, I'm going under.
Wait, well, who was it again? Say
the
that.
Mets.
The Mets.
81.5.
Oh, I got to go over on that one.
So you're going over?
Yeah, I
Explain
think
yourself.
I think they're better than a 500 team.
Well, I don't. I don't. I think they're
Who's
going to be
pitching?
I don't know. I just say they're better than a 500 team.
I feel like the scene with the nude guy in Seinfeld of like, well, they have no pitching.
They only won
have pitching,
75
they don't have any
last
depth.
They
year.
won
Wow.
75, and I don't see
Yeah.
them being that. Now, last year, too, was a ravaged by injuries, 75, and then they traded people.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they'll trade people again at the deadline. So I don't think they're going to be good to begin with. And then I think the trade deadline's going to come and they're going to get worse.
All right, so
It's going to be awesome.
the Marlins, 78.5. I go over. I think the Marlins
Yeah,
are
I got to
fine.
go under with the Mets. And Marlins,
You got to go under with the Mets?
yeah, because I'm giving too many overs here in the same division. They're not winning all the games. Everybody's not winning all the games. So I'm going to go under with the Mets. 78.5, you said, for the Marlins?
Marlins is 78.5.
I want to say over, but I'm going to go under.
Marlins were a playoff team last year, but and I definitely do like it.
I'm going under.
You're going under.
Yeah.
So you're saying a little bit of a step back for the Marlins.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. The step back being like dramatic or just a little?
I think they're an okay team, but I don't think that I think they played well above what they were probably expected to do, and I don't see that happening again. I mean, they're the Marlins. They're like a typical, they make the playoffs like once every 10 years, and then they go back to obscurity, and I think they'll go back to obscurity. Jazz Chisholm, though, you figure will have a bounce back year, but
Sure.
for the most part, they just, I don't know. Until I see it back-to-back years, I can't buy in.
Nationals 66.5. Over.
Oh, under. They're terrible.
Yeah, I'm going to go under.
Are you going under that one?
They might legitimately contend for the number one overall pick.
Okay, see, I go over. I think that, but I don't think that there's a lot to. It's just the 66 number, 66.5 seems really, really disastrous to me. Here's the question, though, Pat. You go under Mets, under Marlins, under Nats, under Braves.
Yeah.
Who the hell's winning games for
Then
you,
that
Pat?
means-
Well, no,
then
I'm
that
going
means-
under, but the Braves
Was
it's
1
not-
and 1.5.
Yeah,
That's
I mean
a big
it's
number.
exactly. Yeah, it's not like I'm picking them all these teams to
But the other
go
three,
under 500.
but the other three, you have all under 500.
Yeah, I think the other. I think they're bad.
So then it's an easy
the Washington
pick for the
Nationals
Phillies.
are so incredibly horrible. Like it's back to the days of getting Strasburg and Harper 1-2 in the draft. It's their opening day starter might be Josiah Gray.
Oh, jeez.
It's gross. Like Patrick Corbin is
So
one of the
the-
worst contracts in baseball.
So then I would think if you have three teams under, you would have Braves and Phillies both over.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, the 101 mark is just tough. Like I don't know. I'd probably pick one team to get over 100 wins, and that would be the Dodgers. But
Right.
and I know that other teams will. I know that there'll be at least one other team. There's usually at least two teams that get over 100 wins, but I think the Phillies are improved, and I'm not a huge fan of the Braves pitching to get to 100+ wins.
I'm not either.
And that's the big thing. Like
I
they
really
are a
am
playoff.
not.
They are a playoff team, but I don't
Yes.
think they're so dominant with the pitching where I go, oh, they're a 100 win team.
Their offense is so dominant, but their defense,
Yeah.
but the pitching, I'm not sure. I just look at it as I'm this close. It's 2 weeks away. I'm this close for our YouTube audience to be able to. I really will. I might be picking the Phillies to win the division.
What's the Phillies' weak point? What's the biggest weakness of the Phillies going into this season right now?
The biggest weakness.
Silence is golden. Well,
no, biggest weakness is I don't know how good that bullpen's going to be, and I don't like bullpen by committee closer.
you don't like it. Is that a weakness, though?
I think it's a weakness when
Do
you
you?
don't have a closer. I think it's like when you go, well, we could use this guy. We could use this guy. I think it's almost like, well, we have multiple quarterbacks, but you don't have a starter? You don't have one that you really love as the starter? Like, to me, that's one that I would consider to be potentially an issue. But, I mean, another year of wondering is Alvarado going to be that guy? Is Sir Anthony going to be that guy?
I would love if it was Sir Anthony.
So would I. I'm not ready for that roller coaster ride, but it very well could be something that is positive.
Could be. That's kind of, as much as it may be a weakness, it might be a positive too, that they have 3 or 4 guys that maybe could be full-time closers. Maybe they figure it out and do it that way. I don't know.
And Kirkering, I mean, I think they want Kirkering as an 8th inning guy this year, probably. But
yeah, they have to ease him in a little bit.
all right, we will now go to the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day, and Comcast Business gets you ready for what's next. Love talking in the football season and now in the off season with Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports as the shopping has begun. And Jeff, as a Penn State guy who knows a lot about Penn State, you have to be thrilled that Saquon is an Eagle.
Oh, I'm more than thrilled. Just because Saquon Barkley brought a lot of joy in my life for 3 years, and he was one of those guys I followed with the Giants. I was always very upset that the Giants were the Giants because Saquon Barkley couldn't be Saquon Barkley. This is the perfect fit for him.
So you do believe this is a great, great spot for him to be. And more importantly, though, was the price too much?
John, this is what's tricky because when I saw DeAndre Swift get $8 million a year, I'm like, oh, so this is where the market's going. Then I'm like, so what's Saquon Barkley going to get? And, I kind of already knew that he was very interested in the Eagles, but I didn't know what the Eagles were interested back. And I didn't know what the Eagles were going to pay that much money for a running back because they never showed that interest. But he's been their first 3 down back since LaShawn McCoy. So when he got what he got, I think the Eagles view him as just another weapon, not just a running back. But they significantly needed help at that position last year. And they got it with Saquon Barkley. You don't have to worry about Kenny Gainwell anymore. You don't have to worry about Boston Scott anymore because you got Saquon Barkley now.
Jeff, if you're looking at, and you can be specific or generalize this, give me 2 starting linebackers for your Philadelphia Eagles next year.
You know what? I would love Terrell Dodson here. I don't know if if the Eagles are interested or anything, but I'd love to have him. I think Nakobe Dean's going to be the other guy, but they're going to add a veteran linebacker at some point. All the rumblings I keep hearing is they're looking to trade for one. I don't know who that would be, but a lot of the good players are off the board. Like, I know everybody wanted Patrick Queen. I think there was a reason the Ravens got rid of him, and I think a lot of it is, well, he's good, but Roquan Smith made him better. I think that's really what the Eagles need, just a playmaking linebacker, but they just don't value the position. But if they do go the free agent route, Terrell Dodson is one of the guys I want.
Do you believe that one, both, or neither will be a part of the Eagles next year when we talk about being able to try to figure out what is going to happen with the Eagles' defensive ends? Right now, Hassan Reddick in the mix, Josh Sweat in the mix. What are you thinking?
I think one of them's going to be gone. I don't think Hassan Reddick really wants to leave Philadelphia, and I think they'll work something out. Hassan Reddick does deserve to get paid more than $15 million a year. Something tells me it's going to be Josh Sweat. And look, I have no idea what the Eagles can get for him, but when you see the Giants of all teams, by the way, fleece the Panthers, who are actually run worse than the Giants, yet only have to pay up a second and a fifth for a player like Brian Burns, the market's not good for Josh Sweat or Hassan Reddick. Maybe the Eagles do keep both, but I have a feeling it's going to be Josh Sweat.
Jeff, where's the surprise pickup going to be for the Eagles? Whether it's free agency now, whether it's in the draft, where do you think they're going to kind of go towards that might make some fans say, wow? Because I have a name in mind. Hunter Renfrow gets released yesterday. I would love to see him in here as a slot receiver. Where do you see like a position that might surprise some fans that you think the Eagles are going to go to?
Yeah, Hunter Renfrow's a good name, Bob. I do like that one. I know Devondre Campbell got released yesterday. I don't know if he's a Fangio guy, but I think that would be like, oh, that's a name. We're going to give him a shot. And that would be a nice pickup for them at linebacker. I still think the Eagles are going to go. They're going to gauge the market there. I think they're just going to be patient, take their time. They can't be too patient now, but it's clear that they prioritize linebacker early in free agency and they never do because they have other needs to fill. I think they realized Saquon Barkley wanted to come there. They jumped on that. I think they knew C.J. Gardner-Johnson was a guy they wanted. Xavier McKinney was plan A. That didn't happen. But they knew they had C.J. Gardner-Johnson in the back pocket. From what I'm hearing, Justin Simmons is out of the equation. But I'd be shocked if they would get a guy like that. So give me Devondre Campbell for now. But, yeah, you know what, Bob? I agree with you. Like, Hunter Renfrow would be a very nice addition to this offense.
I do wonder, though, as far as there is a mythological figure that is hanging out there. And it seems to be that people just are going to pencil him in. And it's a guy who, from my Colts friend source, says is a really, really good player. What do you know about Isaiah Rodgers? And what do you, more importantly, know what you think the Eagles think of Isaiah Rodgers, who they stashed away last year?
Well, I loved Isaiah Rodgers before the suspension. I thought he was a very nice slot corner. He could play outside. He was an ascending player. This is what scares me now because he's been out of football a year. I think it's going to take him another year to kind of just ramp back up in the shape, kind of like it did Calvin Ridley. And Calvin Ridley hasn't really been the same player since he got suspended for the same thing Isaiah Rodgers got suspended for. But Calvin Ridley just got 4 years, $92 million. Again, I still don't get anything the Titans do. They signed Calvin Ridley. That's awesome. You know you could have paid A.J. Brown that money. But I digress. But, yeah, I like Rodgers. I think he's going to play a role in that defense this year. But I think fans got to be patient with him. It's not just a plug-and-play thing.
I'll throw you a question, Jeff, that I threw to these guys yesterday. Who's the most important defensive players for the Eagles right now going into next season?
Ooh, yeah, this is a really good question. Let's go with the interior. Let's go with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. But by the way, it's going to be hard for me not to say Fletcher Cox at some point on one of these segments because I'm so used to Cox being there. But Jordan Davis has to get into better shape. And he was in better shape this year, but he was ineffective towards the second half of the season. Jalen Carter, again, rookie year, I don't want to say he faded towards the second half of the year, but he wasn't as dominant as a player. They need those two to be the first-round picks that they are. And Jalen Carter is going to be that and more. It's Jordan Davis is the guy that they really need to just be that guy. They need him to be better than a starting defensive tackle in this league. And I always – look, apples and oranges, but the Eagles did trade up. And they needed safety help. The year they got Jordan Davis.
You got it.
And they passed on Kyle Hamilton. And everybody tells me all the time, and I've seen Kyle Hamilton play enough, that he just makes everybody around him better. Kyle Hamilton is the top 3 free safety in football right now. And the Eagles passed on him. So Jordan Davis, the pressure's on him whether he likes it or not.
I do wonder, too, if the Eagles' decision to Dave Zangaro yesterday from NBC Sports Philadelphia was on the best show ever. And he talked about, well, the linebackers sort of priced themselves out of the Eagles. You know, it got sort of priced out. It is philosophy how they build this team. And they didn't want to use that pick on Hamilton at safety, which I thought could have transformed the defense.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think Geno Stone's a good player, by the way, but how much of his ascension was helped by the guy playing across from Kyle Hamilton? You know, Kyle Hamilton, the Ravens defense was absolutely stacked last year, and it really helped that they have one of the best middle linebackers in football, Roquan Smith, and one of the best safeties in football, Kyle Hamilton. Like, Jadeveon Clowney had a career year. Look what Justin Madubuike did. Now he's one of the best pass rushing defensive tackles in all of football. Deserved to get paid. Tyus Bowser was solid for them. He just got released. It's the difference, and that's the thing, John. When you got a guy like Hamilton, you're looking for difference makers. That was it. The Eagles decided, well, we think Jordan Davis can be a difference maker, and he may be, but I think the guy they picked the next year was the difference maker in Jalen Carter.
Jeff, we appreciate your insights, and we'll be following your stuff at CBS Sports. And you also you're going down to spring training? Is that the deal or what?
That is correct. Next Thursday, I will be covering the Phillies in Clearwater. So I was really engaging in the closer debate you guys were having before I came on.
What do you who do you want in that?
You know what, John? I've been arguing for about 20 years why Dave Dombrowski just does not care about getting a closer at all. And it did burn him in the postseason last year. I would love for it to be Sir Anthony Dominguez, but that's a roller coaster too. I do agree with you, though. I think they have bigger plans for Kerkering once he gets settled in.
Good job, Jeff, and we'll enjoy the coverage from spring training too next week. So enjoy yourself down there.
Sounds great. I can't wait to go to Florida.
Thanks, Jeff.
Seems like everybody goes to spring training, doesn't it?
Yeah, I understand. It's like the hallways
Down
are
the
empty.
hallway, everybody's down at spring training. The rock station, the country station. Oh no, not us.
Yeah, they're enjoying themselves.
Yeah, good for them.
That is good.
Looks beautiful down
Have
there.
a great time. It does. It does. Pat, did you chime in about who you want to close?
I mean, I'll go with Alvarado, but I don't like what they're doing. I don't like the fact they don't have an actual closer.
And it is a Dave Dombrowski sort of a signature. Much like Howie Roseman doesn't like dealing with linebackers. It's something that he's done. Dave Dombrowski's just done it. He doesn't feel the need to have one guy.
Well, yeah. Isn't that up to the manager though? Like, isn't it up? Like Kimbrel was the guy at the end of last year. He was your closer.
He became one, but they wouldn't give it to him in the beginning of the year. Remember, they were like, they wouldn't name him.
Well, every time he went in, he was a ninth inning guy, and then all of a sudden they started throwing him in the eighth. Like you brought this up a lot, and then he faltered in the eighth inning. Like he was their closer. Like they made him that. It failed them at the end of the year. I don't know that Rob Thompson has come out and said who his closer is or said that he's going to go by committee. I don't remember seeing that anywhere. So maybe they do have a closer in their mind. I don't know.
I would imagine that down the line they want it to be Kerkering, but they got to. I mean, there's a long way to go on that. Usually, even with Rivera with the Yankees, he was an eighth inning guy. He set up. And then he ascended to the closer role.
I think I said last year at the end of the year that Kerkering was going to be the closer for this team. He still could be. I don't know if you do it right now, just, a half a year into his career.
This guy is a key to the Eagles' defense taking the next step forward. We'll get to it next. John Kincade Show on The Fanatic. Hopefully you're having a great Thursday morning. We have game time coming up in just a few moments. So Brendan Gunn's already on the board, making sure it's all locked up so everybody has an equal chance to get in for game time today. With Pat non-committal on life-changing prizes, though. Just want to give you
They
that
are what
heads
they
up.
are.
You'll get what you get.
Yep.
And you'll like it. This is what buddy of mine works for the Colts. And this is what he had to say about Isaiah Rodgers. You guys got yourself a player there. I asked Jeff Kerr about it. And he's of the belief that it's going to take time to ramp up. After pretty much missing a year and some of action, it's going to take him some time to ramp up. But I do look at that as one where I see people penciling him in as a starting corner for this team. I think that's a little bit of a reach right now, but it is as if they got a free agent addition by how he's stashing him. He's young. He's talented. Yeah, it was very dumb what he did, much like Calvin Ridley. Dumb, but he's a nice player.
I would say it's a reach if you had already somebody there. You don't have a slot corner right now.
No.
You got rid of Avonte Maddox. You have two older corners that you might look to be replacing. Does Keely Ringo go in there and step in for a Bradbury, or does something happen there? It gives you depth. They have addressed that position. You know, we act like I was listening to somebody yesterday, I can't remember, that said they wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles go corner with their first pick. They have a plethora of cornerbacks.
I don't expect them to go corner, even though I would not be against it. Wouldn't be against it.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I do believe they think that they have enough bodies there to be able to compete.
Yeah, the year off for a guy at 25, he's 26 now, but a year off at 25 years old, that doesn't bother just me. That doesn't bother me a little bit.
Might help him on the backside of his career. You know,
it could
at
help
some
him
point.
this year, like
Sure.
fresh legs, and let's get back at it, and I'm good to go. And my God, I haven't felt this refreshed since the 8th grade because that's probably the last time he didn't play a football season. So that doesn't bother me at the age of 25, having missed a season. Coming back at 26, nah, I think it's okay. That part doesn't worry me at all. Whether he comes back and can be a starter on this team, we'll see. But right now, that slot spot is open, and maybe it's his to have.
James Palmer from the NFL Network joined Best Show Ever yesterday and was talking about this guy being a key, an absolute key, to the Eagles being able to turn things around on defense.
But they're relying on a big jump from Nolan Smith in year 2. I mean, they really do see a player that can really make some damage getting after the quarterback. Now, there were times in training camp when I was talking to people there that were like, there's times where he's just unblockable. Like the athleticism and the speed off the edge from Nolan Smith, there were times where they were like, oh, my gosh. But then as the season went on, the NFL, and your initial get-off is never going to be, you get off and you get straight to the quarterback. I mean, there's usually 2 plays within every play, and when it really kind of broke down, they saw that he needs to get stronger. Like he needs to improve his strength. And then when, he was kind of battling through a shoulder issue and stuff and toughing it out and things like that, then, that got probably magnified a little bit. So if he can get stronger and he can make the jump in year 2 that they're I don't want to say predicting, but they're hopefully optimistic about, that'll provide some of the help opposite of Chuck.
Okay, I love the optimism on that. And I loved the player that Nolan Smith was in college. But again, we just didn't see enough last year, and he didn't get enough opportunities. And, Pat, that's the most frustrating thing for me because I don't know why. I don't know why he didn't.
He didn't because the Tweedledee and Tweedledum didn't believe in a rotation at all. So get out there, Nolan Smith, have your 7 snaps. The fact that the snap count would come out every week, and I'm checking Nolan Smith's snap count and just getting frustrated, I couldn't understand it. But then you looked at the other defensive ends, and they didn't have a rotation. Every other year they've had a rotation. Last year, it's Sean decide, you know what? No, I'm good. No rotation needed.
What are we doing rotations?
Even though we drafted this kid, we don't really know what to do with him. So, 10, 12 snaps a game and have fun on special teams.
Yeah, and the point being made that he had to put on strength, it's probably true. Look at a Bryce Huff. So if you want Nolan Smith to kind of become something in the most immediate where you are right now, you want him to try to become a Bryce Huff. That's his next step, right? Bryce Huff's 20 pounds heavier than him. Like, you're talking 235 compared to 255. That's a lot. Like, that's a lot. So what he said on there, what the guest, what's his name? Was Jones? Charlie Jones? Who was it?
Charlie Jones.
Jeff Kerr?
James Palmer.
No.
Oh, James Palmer.
Where did I get
Charlie Jones.
Charlie Jones.
James Palmer. I got him mixed up with Scott Palmer.
It's Scott's son.
Yeah, I know, James. They, like, think about that. That's 20 pounds over a couple of years. Like, Huff's going into his 5th year.
Right.
Nolan Smith's only going. That's that natural progression. I talk about it all the time. Like, when I was covering college basketball, coaches couldn't say it enough, man. Man, a 20-year-old compared to a 22, 23-year-old, it's a boy against a man. And that's where Nolan Smith probably his growth is going to now to get up to that man size of maybe the 255 that Huff's carrying on him.
At least you didn't give him a what's his name.
I was going to.
You did that.
Yeah.
Now,
What's his
also,
face?
James Palmer of the NFL Network also had this to say on the best show ever about the Eagles' defense overall.
The defense, behind this defensive line, you need to go out and you need to go and upgrade that group. If you look at the 4 teams that were left, all of them have really good, fast, athletic linebackers, and they're deep in their linebacker groups. And I think that's not a coincidence. In today's game, you need to find linebackers that can match up with these tight ends and these backs out of the backfield. I mean, hell, that's a big reason why they got Saquon, because the Eagles really do value the advantage that he gives them with a running back against a linebacker in space. Like, they think that's a big advantage. So it's kind of funny that they value that offensively. And then you would think, adversely, you would go, well, okay, if that's what we always look to try to, have an advantage offensively, we should probably beef up our linebacking group so that doesn't happen to us. I'm not sure where they find it right now. Like Willie Gay going down to New Orleans, to me, Willie was kind of that, second type of linebacker that just really see ball, get ball, can fly sideline to sideline type of player. Those need to be more prevalent in this defense for sure. And I know they're not done. Talking to guys today, I know they're not done in terms of linebacker, safety, corner, what they're looking at right now.
That's good news. Good job, James.
Hope so, yeah. We talked about that, though, during the playoffs. We said, look at these teams. Look how their linebackers are always there. They're always there. Tackle up the middle, fill in gaps, a running back getting a screen pass. They're always there. That's the kind of linebacking play that, I told you before, one of my favorite, maybe my favorite position in football is a playmaking linebacker. And we just don't see it here at all, ever, in my lifetime. That much. It
is not the fact of what we heard Dave Zangaro say yesterday on the best show ever. I don't think it's a fact that the linebacker market priced itself out. It's that where the Eagles choose to spend their money. And they don't choose to spend it on linebackers. That doesn't mean that they're not going to look, they've been going with $1.5 million, $1 million linebackers, $1.5 million. They have literally been shopping that bargain DVD bin where you can still find some good bargains.
Absolutely.
I found Weird Science in one once.
Yeah, you can find Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants too.
You did?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like late at night, like 1 in the morning.
99 cents I found in the bin one day, and I bought it, and my wife wondered why I bought it.
It's a great movie.
That's a great movie. But for 99 cents.
Yeah, for $1. I mean, it's worse things you can waste $1 on.
Yeah, I mean,
Weird Science.
But finding a linebacker for $1.5 million, going out there and we're just going to start picking through the bargain bin and see what we can do because, look, it's an organizational decision. And there are so many great decisions that have been made by Howie Roseman and his administration. So many. But there are also ones that seem to be the blind spot.
Yeah, it's great. They've been to 2 Super Bowls in 7 years and haven't won one. That's awesome. That is great. But you're always looking to improve. Where do you improve? Well, there's 2 places that really stand out, or one place defensively, and that's linebacker. And why you just choose to ignore it, it goes against like a business plan that everybody knows. How good are you? Well, you're as good as your weakest link. If you chose to ignore that weakest link, how are you ever going to get to where you want to go? I don't know.
I don't, and the idea that because remember it was 2 years for 6, it was 2 of the last 6. Now it's 2 of the last 7. Look, Howie's had a great.
He said 2 out of the last 6. It was those quotes were before the Super Bowl. That's why.
But he knew that they weren't in that year's Super Bowl, so you say 2 out of 7.
It hadn't been played yet.
He wanted the numbers to look
correct.
better for him.
Who doesn't?
That's what he wanted. Well, basic math sort of haunted him. I'm looking forward to seeing. How about 3-8? That would be great if we can get to that.
I ain't counting on that.
Let's get to game time.
Gentlemen.
Oh, here
It's
we
not
go.
just
The
game
music.
time.
Way to go, Pat.
It's not just game time. Well, that's Brennan Gunn right there. That's not just game time. It's tournament time. You guys know about this.
Okay.
Got a couple local teams advance in their conference tourneys yesterday. Temple, we had St. Joe's advance and Nova advance as well. So, but the way this game is going to work, 610-632-0975 if you want to get involved, is I am going to give the caller a team. And I'm going to give them their, I can't say their mascot, but like whoever this. So, for
Oh, okay,
example, would be
okay.
like, I'll say Temple Owls. Okay. And you would say, yeah, they're the Owls. And if you got it right, you get a prize. But if I said the Temple, the Temple pothole fillers,
Yes, well,
and
we
you
know
said
that's
no.
never going to work here.
exactly, then you win. 610-632-0975. Prizes today include tickets to go see the Sixers Hornets on Saturday, a pair of tickets to go see the 25th annual Greater Philadelphia Boat Show, March 15th through the 17th at the Expo Center at Oaks. We have a pair of tickets as Ring of Honor presents Supercard of Honor, April 5th at the Lee Corse Center. A pair of tickets to go see Ludacris on July 27th at the Hard Rock Live at Edis Arena at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. A pair of tickets to go see the Sixers and Pelicans tomorrow night. And we have a pair of tickets to go see Weezer with the Flaming Lips and Dinosaur Jr. September 13th at the Wells Fargo Center. So they can they'll be teamed up with one of you Jagaloons.
The
And
Pelicans game was last week, by the way. So
yeah,
that might be a mistake.
as soon as I'm reading it, I realized that was not correct. So you're not going to win those prizes.
You're not going to win that.
All right, Liam and Conshohocken, you're going to be teamed up with John Kincade.
Hi, Liam.
Good morning.
Hey, buddy.
All right, so Liam, the team that I am going to give you, and if you need help, you could go to your partner John. The team I am going to give you is the Kent State Golden Flashes. The Kent State Golden Flashes. Is that the correct name?
Let's collaborate here, Liam. Do you feel comfortable on this one or not?
I feel like it is. I mean, didn't there?
I think
the Golden Eagles.
So you're going Golden Eagles. I have a feeling there's. Where are you going? What do you say?
Let's stick with Flashes.
We're going to stick
good
with
move.
Flashes.
Good move. Yes, it is the Golden Flashes.
I wanted to go Golden Eagles also.
Yeah, well, they're supposed to be the Kent State Julian Edelmans, but they're sticking with the Golden
Very good.
Flashes. Pair of tickets to go see
Good
Sixers
job, Liam.
Hornets on Saturday at the Wells Fargo Center. To purchase tickets for any 76ers game, visit Ticketmaster.com/76ers.
I would have said Golden Eagles.
All right, we got Anthony in Bristol, who's up next. He's going to be playing with Bob Cooney.
What's up, Ant?
How you doing?
All right, let's get this done.
Now, Anthony, you're lucky because you got Bobby basketball here. Bob, the team that I'm going to give you is the Presbyterian Blue Hose.
Presbyterian Blue Hose?
How do you spell hose?
Is it Hose, H-O-S-E?
H-O-S-E, of course. All
Anthony,
right.
you got to trust me on this. That is correct.
Anthony, do you agree with him? You think it's correct?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, smart move. Yes.
Yeah,
How did you
baby.
know that?
Oh, well,
Everybody knows the Blue Hoses.
he's not just a basketball guy. He's a hoseman. And he just won Anthony a 4-pack
That
of tickets to the 25th annual Greater Philadelphia Show, March 15th through the 17th at Expo Center at Oaks. Visit PhillyBoatShow.com for
The
details.
Blue Hose. I'm glad we had to get that spelling in there.
Let's go to Colin in Westchester. Good to be playing with Johnny.
Hey, Colin from the borough. What's up, buddy?
Hey, good morning, John. How are you?
Good, man.
All right, the team that I'm going to give you guys is the Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks. The Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks. Is that correct or not?
I don't believe that's correct. Do you?
It doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right to me either.
Well, yeah. Great job.
Oh,
you just cost ourselves listeners because it is the Lumberjacks. Have some
I'm
respect.
Sorry. Lumberjacks. I'm sorry, Colin.
Ridiculous.
Come on.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely
Man.
ridiculous.
Wait. Did you know that? Did you know they were the Lumberjacks?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
did, yeah.
geez.
I knew that one.
Oh, gosh.
Mm.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Colin.
and by the way, the prize that I told you about with the Pelicans tickets, we switched that for the Flyers and Leafs on Tuesday. at
Oh,
the Wells
that's
Fargo
nice.
Center.
That's a
sweet.
nice ticket.
But if they're teamed up with John, I don't know if they have a shot at it. All right, let's go to Sean in Mount Laurel up next. He's going to be playing with Bob Cooney.
Let's
over
go,
here.
Sean. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Bobby? How you been?
Good.
All right, Bobby basketball. The team that I'm going to give you guys is the Campbell Fighting Camels.
Whoa.
The Campbell Fighting Camels.
Campbell, I'm thinking it is. John, it's my turn. I think that's good, Sean.
All right, let's go with that.
Yeah, good job, guys.
So much for trying to
Of course.
help.
I can't wait to work hard and become a fighting camel. You
Do
just
camels
won.
fight?
Well, they spit, and I'm sure that when you spit at somebody, fights break out. We can find out if you want. Go spit on Brendan Gunn, see what happens. A pair of tickets to go see Ring of Honor presents Supercard of Honor April 5th at the Lee Coors Center. Tickets now on sale at rohtix.com. Let's go to Ray in Washington Township, who's up next.
Ray, what's up?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good, Ray.
All right, Johnny and Ray, the team that I'm going to give you guys is the Stony Brook Sea Wolves. Stony Brook Sea Wolves. Wolves from the sea. Is it true or false?
First of all, do wolves belong at the sea?
Just answer the question.
What
Stop
do you
trying
say?
to get
What do you say,
philosophical.
Ray? I don't.
I have no idea. I have Campbell though. I'm going to say no. One of these has to.
All right, I'm gonna go no also.
All right, guys. Of course it's the
What?
Sea
Just
Wolves.
kidding me.
Of course it's the Sea Wolves. Yes.
Sea
Stony
wolves?
Brook Sea Wolves. It's a badass animal. It's a wolf in the sea? I don't want to mess with that. I don't want to tangle with that at all.
There are no wolves in the sea.
Oh, okay. All of a sudden, you go to one island in the Dominican Republic and you're an expert on the sea? Please, sir, back down. Let's go to Lenny in Blackwood up next, and he's going to be playing with Bobby Basketball
What's
over
up,
here.
Lenny?
What's up, Bobby?
All right, let's get it done.
I'm going to give you guys the Fort Wayne Mastodons. The Fort Wayne Mastodons.
Fort Wayne down in Texas.
Indiana, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Indiana.
It's Indiana. Geography ain't your strong. Basketball is.
I was thinking of
Hose
Fort
is.
Worth because that's where Ray just was. Geez, Fort Wayne.
I mean, Bobby, you can let Lenny answer.
Yeah, what
it's
do you
not
think,
just
Len?
it's not just the Bob Cooney show.
Hey, can you let Lenny and I talk this out? Pat, shut your mouth. What do you think, Lenny?
I don't have an idea, but that does not sound right.
Yeah, we're going to say no.
Guys, it's
Oh, my
right.
gosh.
Fort Wayne Mastodons, of course.
Damn, sorry,
Yes.
Lenny. My
Yes,
bad.
the force.
My
It's all right. It's
gosh.
all right. A lot of people are talking that you just don't have it anymore, Bob. All right, let's go to.
Have they even made? Have they
Never
made the
did.
tournament? I don't know.
Let's go to Anthony and Delco's. Be playing with Johnny over here.
Anthony, how are you?
Morning, guys. How are you?
All right, let's get a winner here,
All right,
Anthony.
I'm going to give you the UC Santa Cruz Fighting Banana Slugs. UC Santa Cruz Fighting Banana Slugs. True or false?
I'm leaning towards it being true. What about you? No, you know.
I think it's true.
No, wait.
No, we're not waiting
There
a
it
minute.
is.
That's good.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
it is.
Don't change
That's
your
good.
We're
mind.
not waiting a minute. UC
banana
Santa Cruz, no
slugs.
one's tangling with the banana slug.
I'll tell you
Nobody.
what, man. It's a good looking mascot.
It
What
is
is
a
a
good-looking
banana
mascot.
slug, by the way?
It's
It's a slug that
that's
looks like a
yellow.
banana.
Anthony, good job, buddy.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's a slug that just won Anthony the Flyers tickets for Tuesday at the Wells Fargo Center.
Why did
Get
I think
tickets
they
at
were the
PhiladelphiaFlyers.com. Gauchos.
Mexico State.
Are they, no, they're the Lobos.
Yes. New Mexico.
New
Yeah, but
Mexico.
I thought somebody was the
know.
Gal. I thought they were the Gauchos. I'm wrong
New
on
Mexico
that.
State might be the Aggies, and then New Mexico's the Lobos.
I don't know.
Anyway, let's go to Lopez on the cell. He's gonna be playing with Bobby Basketball over here.
We got- Hey, Lopez, what's up?
Hey, Bob.
All right, gentlemen, your team is the Webster Gorlocks.
Oh,
The
I know a
Webster
kid that played at
Gorlocks.
Webster.
Of course you did.
I do.
I say that's true.
Would you say it is true, Lopez?
I would say true.
I think so
Yeah.
also, yeah.
Lopez didn't even need you, Bob. He didn't need you. Not after your last performance.
Where's Webster from?
Missouri.
He's from Family Ties?
No, he was from.
Different Strokes?
The show was Webster.
Webster. Yeah, that's right. Okay,
Named
that's where he's
after
from. Yeah. Emmanuel Lewis. Well, Emmanuel Lewis just won this guy a pair of tickets to go see Weezer with the Flaming Lips and Dinosaur Jr. on September 13th at Wells Fargo Center. Tickets go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Let's keep it going with Leah in Fairmount. He's been playing with John.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, how are you?
Let's see if we can get a winner here, Leah. Let's collaborate.
All right, let's go with the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. Coastal Carolina Chanticleers.
I like this one, and Leah, I think this is right.
All right, John, I'm going to trust you on this one.
Yeah,
There you
Chanticleers is
go.
correct. Don't know what it is. I think it's a bird, but what it is just won Leah a pair of tickets to go see the Sixers and Hornets on Saturday at a Wells Fargo Center. Purchase tickets for any 76ers game. Visit Ticketmaster.com/76ers.
Good baseball program.
They do. They have a really good baseball.
Chanticleer is a
and they have a
bird.
good football program.
Yeah.
They did, not bad.
Yeah,
It's a proud and fierce rooster.
Yeah, of
It is
course.
it really?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
They have a lot of them down there.
That cock will mess your day up.
There you go.
Anyway, Tony, Northeast, playing with Bob. Take that out of context.
Tone, what's up, buddy? Yeah, that's going to be on 5:30 on Friday. What's
Yep.
up, Tone?
What's
Tone?
going on, gentlemen? How are you?
There you
All right,
go.
Good,
I'm going to
buddy.
give you guys the Century College Wood Ducks. The Century College Wood Ducks.
I think I see a theme here. I'm going to say yes.
All right. Yeah. No, you nailed it.
All right. Good
Wood
job,
ducks
Tone.
is correct.
The wood ducks.
They decided, you know what? What's more badass than a duck? It's probably a duck made out of wood, and they'd be correct. I don't want
it's
to mess
like
with a duck
it's like
made
a
out of
clay.
wood.
Yeah, it's
Better
like
than a
clay.
fierce rooster.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and it just won.
Or
It just won.
gamecock.
It just won him a 4-pack of tickets for the 25th annual Greater Philadelphia Boat Show, March 15th through the 17th. Expo Center at Oaks. Visit phillyboatshow.com for details. One more. Let's go
One more.
to Ted in Connecticut.
Hi,
Appointment with
Ted.
John.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Let's see if we can get you a winner, Ted.
North Carolina School of Arts Fighting Pickles. The North Carolina School of Arts Fighting Pickles.
Ted, I'm going to let you call this because I don't want to go down in flames for you here.
Oh, God. Let's say yes.
Yeah, good choice.
Yes, very good.
I just imagine the coach going into some kid's home and just saying, "Are you ready to be a fighting pickle?"
Are you ready to get pickled, kid?
Well, Ted, congratulations. You just won. Let me see something I can give you because you're in Connecticut. Well, I'll give you the pair of tickets to go see Weezer with the Flaming Lips and Dinosaur Jr. on September 13th.
There you go.
That's
Gives them
enough
plenty of time to
that's
plan
enough
a
time
trip.
to get here. You're not going to make the Flyers game on Tuesday, and so yeah, you get the pair of tickets to go see those guys. So
Good job, Pat. And Brendan Gunn,
yeah, Brendan Gunn was the backbone of this.
the orchestrator.
Yeah, I came up with the idea. Brendan Gunn came up with the execution.
Very good.
It's like saying hey, we should draft linebacker. What a noble thought, but somebody has to go out and do the work, and that was Brendan Gunn.
Well, oh my gosh. Here's the sea wolf. Tristan found it for us. The Vancouver Island wolf, also known as the coastal wolf or sea wolf, is a subspecies of gray wolf endemic to the coast of the Pacific Northwest, a unique species of wolf due to their semi-aquatic lifestyle, which includes a diet that is almost entirely marine-based. So there are wolves in the sea.
See that?
That would be scary as hell to come upon a wolf in the sea. Good job, Tristan. Don't know how you knew that.
Tristan's on it. He's got
Don't,
time
know how,
on his
don't know how you knew that one, but that's very, very good. Can't imagine. A wolf in the sea would.
Yeah, that's why I don't need to
I don't
go.
need to see
go
any
to the
animals
sea.
in the sea to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I mean that whole it's a happy song under the sea, but under the no, I'm good. It because that song lures you in as a child to think that under the sea is a great place to be. It's not. It's terrifying. All right, you got those angler fishes. Any fish that has a General Electric light attached to it, I'm out on. And now we got sea wolves and we've got urchins and octopi and I'm all out. No, none of it. Ariel can kick rocks with it.
All right, so Pat, walking barefoot in the ocean last week, and where we were in Punta Cana, it's right where the Atlantic Ocean meets the Caribbean Sea. So they actually are combined in this area. Would it bother you worse to be in the ocean when you can see your feet?
No,
Because
I'm
you can
cool with
see
that.
the things.
Yeah.
You could see things swimming by you, though.
I'm cool with that. It's more of like the deep ocean. Like if it's at like knee level, I'm all right with knee level. But when you get out and I'm sitting there with all the sea life and what, no, I'm good. I have no interest in that whatsoever.
I'll tell you what
Terrifying.
scared the hell out of me one time when we're talking about the ocean. So I took my kids out at like 7 o'clock at night because it was high tide, and we were just throwing lines in the water and catching little fish, whatever. This guy gets in a kayak. And I was like, I kind of must have made a face like, oh, that's cool. And a guy comes over to me, he goes, you know who this guy is? And I said, no. He goes, oh, he's a local legend. Just watch him for a few minutes. The guy paddled out to the end of a pier, so he wasn't that far out.
All right, so he's not that bad.
And I said, what's he fishing for? He said, you'll see. Guy was out there 10 minutes, comes, you see action going on, comes, paddling back. He has a 7-foot thresher shark that he just pulled up onto the beach with and boom, plotted it out there. I was like, are you kidding me? So, the guy barely went out, 20 yards maybe. Boom, there's a thresher shark that he brings in a canoe.
Okay, that's wild.
So I get back to the house, and I tell my wife, yeah, this guy, and it's kind of like, yeah, sure he did. Well, sure enough, somebody caught up with the guy, and there was a story in the paper the next day, him standing next to, said, no, he put it back, but 7-foot thresher shark just, where you would waddle out to.
You know where,
waddle or
Pat, one of your biggest fans, Pam.
What do you say, girl?
Hey, what's up? That part of the slutty
the naughty girls.
Naughty girls.
Her nephew Sammy, Sammy Brown Chestnut, he fishes for sharks in Ocean City from the beach.
Yeah, I just don't.
Now, the
I don't
small
get
ones,
that.
small ones, and brings them in at night.
No, like
They're small though, Pat. They're not like
no.
They still have teeth, John.
Yeah,
They
I'm
get a hold
good.
of your finger, it could be gone.
And guess what, John? I'm small.
Hey, can the Eagles keep up with the San Francisco 49ers? This man asked the question. John Kincade Show on The Fanatic.
5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. The John Kincade Show with Bob Cooney and Pat Egan continues. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
We appreciate you hanging out with us, the John Kincade Show on The Fanatic. By the way, the numbers on those Flyers projected playoff berth, you'll hear the Flyers on MMR tonight. 77.6%. 77.6% to clinch a playoff spot.
It's happening. Just accept it, John. It's okay. You don't even have to look at how the other teams are doing. Forget the Islanders.
I'm glad
Forget
to have you on
everything
board.
else.
I am just
It's
glad
okay.
getting on board here. I know it's going to be a fun day. It's going to be fun. When they clinch, that may be a champagne-worthy day just to see them do it. Because in baseball, they celebrate everything. So when they clinch the playoffs, the Flyers should have put tarp over everything and have some champagne.
Yeah, the
Spray
boys
it
might
all
go
around.
out and get a couple beers.
I have a feeling that's going to happen one way or another.
Yeah.
So, hey, the Fanatics Knockout Tournament is coming up on Wednesday, March the 27th. Today, you've saved it for the 9 o'clock hour. Your chance to win tickets is coming up, so stay tuned. Could be happening at any time. Your chance to win tickets to Knockout, get to play Knockout on the court and everything. It should be a amazing time. A couple things here. One is that let's say Kyle Schwarber was out of the lineup yesterday. Right groin tightness. If he was out for any length of time, which they do not expect, so not trying to play alarmist here. They do not expect that to be the case. What would the lineup look like if Schwarber wasn't in?
Well, Turner would lead off.
Yeah. Who do you make your DH?
Yes.
Or do you put somebody out in the field and then make?
Does Castellanos become a DH?
Well, no. Then you have to put somebody in right field.
Well, you could.
I wouldn't change two positions. I would keep everything the same and just plug in I'm big on that. It's why I said, I wouldn't mind if the Eagles drafted a center. Plug somebody in, leave everybody else where they are. So, yeah, maybe a Whit Merrifield becomes your DH.
Because Merrifield would be better in right field, I would think, than he even is. Castellanos.
Oh, then maybe you do that. Yeah, that's good thinking on your part. Maybe you throw him in there and Castellanos. You have to go to the players and say, you okay not being in the field and just hitting 4 times? Can you occupy your time in a way that when you do come up to bat, you're ready to go? Because a lot of those guys, that's hard. That's hard sitting. Hey, your turn, go bat. 4 pitches, go sit for 3 more innings. So there might be some guys that are like, nah, DHing isn't for me. But as far as what would be best, yeah, I think put Merrifield in right, have Castellanos be your DH, and then I agree with Pat. Then you lead off Turner. I would go something like Turner, Stott, Harper. And, and then fill out the rest, Real Muto, Bohm, whatever, he'll do his left-righty thing as much as he can.
Pat Egan on social media yesterday with a one that you were enjoying, Pat, that general manager Bryce Harper was at it again, and it was weird. In that Whit Merrifield interview with Braun from the MLB Network.
Yeah, Eric Kratz and those guys. He basically said, he couldn't figure out why he wasn't, and this is what Merrifield talking. He couldn't figure out why he wasn't getting offers, and he actually called Drayton Moore from Texas and was like, "Am I crazy? I thought I could still play." And
he was an all-star.
Yeah. He couldn't quite figure out what was going on, and then a little while later, he got a call from Bryce Harper that was like, "We need you here." And I just love the fact that the Phillies have a guy that has no problem making phone calls and trying to recruit. It's what you want in college sports is your own guys to try to recruit players, because ultimately a contract, it goes a long way, and that's the major point, right? How much your guys getting paid. But it also means a lot when you have a guy like Bryce Harper calling you up and being like, "We need you here." And especially for a guy like Whit Merrifield sitting around at home going, Bueller?
Why is nobody calling me?
Can I still play? And then he gets a phone call from one of the best in the game saying, "We need you." And ultimately, I think he's going to be a big part of this team and keeping a lot of this team fresh because of his versatility. So I loved it. Loved it that the Phillies have that kind of guy.
Went yard yesterday.
I don't know if he does it or not. I'm not dialed into San Diego enough to figure it out, but I don't know if Manny Machado's doing that for the Padres.
I don't believe he is.
No, and
That's not it. Well, that's, how about this? It's not his reputation.
And it's not an indictment on him. A lot of players don't. But if he is, I don't think it's to the extent of Bryce Harper. Like, Bryce Harper has just no problem trying to call up a guy and just be like, yo, Philly's nice. We got a lot going on for us. We have the zoo. The zoo's beautiful.
The zoo, you know what? My wife said she wants to do a zoo day. She wants to go down to the zoo.
She wants to visit the country's first zoo?
I love the Philadelphia Zoo. And
Who
so
doesn't?
I'm like, absolutely, we'll do the zoo as long as it's not a hot day. I said, better to go while it's still cool. And I think the animals are more active when it's not hot.
Not a huge zoom-in.
You're not a zoo-man?
I mean, I like watching the kids' reaction when we take them, and but yeah, if like the two of us were just had a day, I think a little zoo trip is going to be way on the bottom of my list.
I
Yeah.
do enjoy it. I do enjoy it, and I like walking. I like walking outside and everything. So, like being at the zoo, you can see some things. I think the
Yeah, but
Philadelphia
you smell
Zoo.
things too.
Oh, jeez.
I think the Philadelphia Zoo
Bud,
is
you're
fantastic.
you're
No,
one to
that's
talk.
cool.
You're one to talk. I've been in the car with you before.
I'm all right. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind a zoo. Like we went a couple years ago, and I noticed they had a beer garden, so that was cool. So I grabbed a beer while we were walking around. Yeah, it's okay. It's not. Yeah, it's
not at the top of your list.
Yeah, but it's not at the bottom either. It's okay. It's fine. Like I said, watching the kids' reaction to it is what's the best, and not just mine. Like I love seeing little kids walk around and just be fascinated. So that actually, I downplayed it. I like the zoo.
I was thinking actually when you were saying it, I'm like, you're probably.
I am a zoosman.
You're out of the zoo game because of your kids, but man, when you take a kid around to the zoo,
yeah,
yeah,
that is cool.
See the magic of the zoo.
I like the just a little tidbit. There's a zoo in Tampa that is fantastic. The zoo in Tampa is fantastic.
The Carol Baskins.
No, it's not that
Tiger
one.
Rescue.
And the San Diego Zoo, and then the San Diego Wild Safari Park.
Yeah, San Diego Zoo's like world renowned.
It's spectacular. And the San Diego Wild, it's a wild animal safari, which is around 30 miles away, is fantastic also. So if you're into zoos, make that trip to California. Be sure to check it out. Cousin Ryan saying the Elmwood Park Zoo.
Elmwood Park Zoo's a nice spot. Yeah,
he likes it too.
Yeah, we go there.
We fancy the Cape May Zoo every year.
I've never been.
Yeah, we go there. It's a smaller one, but when we're on vacation, we always head over to that one.
I got engaged at a zoo now that I think about it.
You did because you were looking for
the penguin.
Penguin, yes.
Yeah, and the not to call him out on it, but the aquarium never got back to me, and the Philly Zoo. This was like in May, and I said, hey, can you guys like book a penguin or whatever? And they're like, yeah. When's what date? And I said, I don't know, Saturday. And they're like, oh, we're booked up till October. Crazy, right?
Other people
LOL.
do the same thing?
I don't know, but like they never got back
to
me.
Tux for the,
they
penguin.
never like I'm still waiting to hear back from the Philadelphia Zoo on when's good for them. So, but yeah, the Lehigh Valley Zoo took care of me. Me and Tulani the penguin, hanging out.
Are you having another kid?
No, dude.
Okay.
No.
I feel like I have to ask him this like every.
Because you need to know.
Every couple of weeks. No, because he won't tell us.
Every time Tyrone sees me, yes.
Well, the 9 a.m. hour is brought to you by the Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. Get yours at Home Depot and Lowe's. And for details, go to bagster.com. Yesterday, speaking of Tyrone and the best show ever, James Palmer, the NFL Network, was wondering about this. Are the Eagles' moves and what they need to do, isn't it all about this?
I think the Saquon move is really Philly trying to get up to San Francisco. I think Saquon's move is kind of that. I mean, I think I covered the game out there in Santa Clara and Christian McCaffrey's first game with them, and you kind of look at it this and go, it's Philly trying to keep up with San Francisco making that move.
Yeah, it's all about keeping up with San Francisco. Now, remember, when you lose the Super Bowl, remember you hear that whole thing that everything sort of falls apart for you and everything. It didn't last year. For the Eagles, they were 10-1, they were rolling, and then they fell apart themselves. But that San Francisco 49ers team, I don't know if you saw the story. They're contemplating, because of salary cap issues, trading Deebo Samuel. That would be the greatest.
Is that right?
thing.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, there is discussions. The Ravens have been calling about Deebo Samuel, and the 49ers are deciding on considering it. Like as far as maybe fielding phone calls for Deebo Samuel. Get Deebo Samuel out of San Francisco. And honestly, if you take Deebo off that team, they don't scare me 50% as much as they do with a healthy Deebo Samuel. They drop to being a really good team from being a great team if they were to get rid of him. By the way, the Ravens are the team calling about Deebo Samuel. Talk about that. If you had Derrick Henry and Deebo Samuel, that'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine that you equate the Eagles getting Saquon to trying to catch up to the 49ers with McCaffrey and all their offensive firepower. That's great. I still don't see a Greenlaw or a Warner playing linebacker for the Eagles.
I don't.
That's your biggest difference in those two teams, if you ask me. That San Francisco team is physical defensively. The Eagles are trying to, find a defense.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that game, San Francisco was so punishing.
Oh.
They're physically punishing. And I don't think that just loading up on the offensive side of the ball bridges the gap with the 49ers. And there is a gap. Let it not be said. Because if you remember, first two possessions of the Eagles-San Francisco game, the Eagles defense stood up to San Francisco's offense, and the Eagles moved the ball on two long drives. You had that terrible sack that Jalen Hurts took when he ran backwards 12 yards and got sacked in the red zone inside the 10, and Jalen inexplicably just ran backwards and then gets sacked, loses his footing. But overall, the Eagles were able to move the ball and had to settle for 2 field goals, and then it was a completely different game. You go up 10-0 or 14-0 in that game, it was a completely different Sunday afternoon. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. So maybe the Eagles are saying, look, if we cashed in those 3s and made them 7s, we can hang with the 49ers. I think that's bluffing yourself when you look at what this team does on defense.
Yeah, and there's a wide gap there defensively. Now, do you I'm sorry. I saw there was a signing, didn't I? Nope. I thought there was a signing that was coming up on my timeline. That's why I was checking it out. That's great. If you want to think that Saquon Barkley can be Christian McCaffrey-like, Christian McCaffrey scores a touchdown every time he's on the field.
He's unbelievable.
He just scores a touchdown every game. Boom, he's going to score you 20 touchdowns, and then he's going to catch you, 60, 70, 80, 90 yards out of the backfield. If you can get something like that out of Saquon Barkley, great. But, yeah, I'd also like to close that gap defensively. And like I said, Greenlaw and Warner, you have question mark and question mark / Nakobe Dean. Sorry, that's a pretty wide gap.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge gap. I know that I'm not a James Franklin fan. Let that be said.
I don't think many Eagles fans are today either.
Well, I'm not a James Franklin fan from covering the SEC and watching him sneak out the back door at Vanderbilt in the midst of a horrible scandal that was terrible. That James Franklin then ditched out the back door and was like, okay, leaving that one behind, and you can go research it for yourself if you care to. But James Franklin inserting himself into Saquon Barkley and the Saquon Barkley story while being interviewed, I have no idea other than he's asked about Saquon, but saying that he gets the Eagles involved in a tampering, at least, discussion. And that, to me, doesn't make any sense.
No, so what he did was he came out. I don't know if somebody called him and asked him about Saquon. I guess they did. But he came out and said, and he told me that one of the selling points when he was talking to Howie Roseman was Howie saying, hey, we want you back towards, the Philadelphia area, Penn State, all that stuff. Well, Howie wasn't allowed to talk to him.
Not until yesterday.
So James Franklin basically, kind of put Howie under the bus and said they tampered.
Howie immediately says, don't know where the information came from, but he did not talk. We talked to agents. We talked to the people we were allowed to talk to. We did not talk to Saquon. Now, I don't know. James Franklin, he steps in as well as anybody. I mean, he really does. Now, he doesn't get those big wins as well as anybody.
It's funny, we all know a lot of people that either went to Penn State or have kids going to Penn State and all that. I always see, and I'm just throwing this out there, nothing against, I don't follow Penn State football all that closely, but every alum kid that I know that goes there says the same thing. Yeah, the guy can recruit, but he's a horrible game day coach.
And he can
Now,
recruit.
They're saying horrible when he constantly goes like 11-2 or 10-3 or whatever. So there's goodness there, but he's not getting them to the point of where they want to be. But it's overwhelming to me that so many people have the same thoughts on James Franklin that are associated with Penn State.
He doesn't win big games. He wins games he's favored to win. Like he wins.
Yeah,
he wins
he doesn't
games.
beat the Michigans and the Ohio States and stuff like that.
He wins the games he's favored to win, and there's something to be said for that, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches don't do that.
Yeah.
So he wins games he's supposed to win, but again, if you're Saquon Barkley, oh my gosh, just stop talking to him. I mean, he's just this guy, loose lips sink ships, and he's a guy that can really. This could potentially have been a problem, especially when people talk about. Remember, the Eagles picked up a draft pick from the Arizona Cardinals.
Right. Something's going to happen. I mean, so the Eagles came out and denied it. That doesn't mean the NFL's not going to investigate.
They'll investigate and look into it.
Yeah, and maybe it will cost the Eagles a pick down the road or something.
And by the way,
that.
if Howie did it, that's flat out stupid. If he did it, it's stupid. You can speak through intermediaries. You can speak through everything.
Sure.
I don't believe Howie's a stupid guy. I really don't. So I'm going to take him at his word that the Eagles, at their word that they didn't, that he talked to the agents, that he talked to other people. Because I don't believe Howie would be that stupid.
Yeah,
it's a dumb move. It's a stupid move.
Is it a practice that happens all the time? Like, yeah, that's the rule, but everybody talks to everybody. Stop it. And then this guy just decides to speak, James Franklin. It's like, yo, dude, what are you doing here? Like, maybe it's an unwritten law that, yeah, you're not supposed to do it. Air quotes. We all know that rules are bent or broken or whatever.
Well, this city was outraged in the Jonathan Gannon situation with the Cardinals. So it would be really, really dumb if you gained a draft pick by doing it and then you lost a draft pick. And what did they lose, Pat? Do you remember Arizona's?
It was
that a third?
No, well, they got the Eagles third, and the Eagles moved up considerably, and they took Tyler Steen.
There was a switch, right?
Yeah, they swapped third round picks, but the swap was significant.
Yeah, it was like they moved up.
The Eagles ended up getting Tyler Steen out of it, so I was cool with it.
Yeah, let's have more of that. If they could have more tampering for other teams. For other teams.
Yeah, other teams. Yeah. James Franklin is the Kirk Cousins of college football.
That's a really good one.
I mean, he's vastly overpaid. He's never going to win a damn thing. He's a snake oil salesman. That's what he's always been.
I mean, I'm not defending him. Like I said, I am overwhelmed by the same feeling from so many people about this one coach. Is Penn State expected to beat Ohio State and Michigan? I often go here
expected.
You want to
expected, but I wouldn't say Ohio State and Michigan are expected to beat Penn State.
Really?
It's the Big Ten. I mean, it's such a competitive conference that.
Man, and this is just in my mind.
And nothing against Indiana, but it's not Indiana football. It's Penn State football. So
it is.
There are the teams that you go, all right, they should be heavily contending, and Penn State is one of them.
Ohio State and Michigan, to me, are national championship caliber teams pretty much every year. Penn State, in my mind, just me, tries to upset one of them.
Penn State is, to me, they are a little bit Dallas Cowboys-ish. It's like they're living in the glory days of Joe Pa in the 90s and the 80s, but in reality, they're never going to win a damn thing.
Yeah, I just is that they're doing, or is it the doing of?
If you're a Michigan fan or Ohio State fan, can you get upset by Penn State? Yeah, probably you can. But are you terrified of Penn State every year? Probably not terrified of Penn State. And that's how I feel with the Cowboys. Is like you're going to talk from September to January, and then you go in hiding, and you're going to talk about the glory days. And for Penn State fans, it's, as I said, 90s and Joe Pa and all that. But you're not ultimately. I don't think you're contending for a national championship.
Right. That's my. Is he getting the most out of that program that you can get, Pat?
No, because I watched Bill O'Brien contend after the scandal that happened, and I think with a better game day coach, they could end up entering that chat.
He saved the program.
Yeah, He did.
Bill O'Brien.
But then you have James Franklin come in, and it's like they got to overpay James Franklin because he threatens to leave again. It's like you'd rather be in a bad relationship with a girl and be like, no, you don't leave. I'll do anything. Then move on from her and possibly be single for a little bit. Like, that's the analogy I could use for Penn State. They're terrified of losing James Franklin when James Franklin hasn't won anything for them.
And he'll
But if you want the Tostitos Bowl, I mean, who doesn't love Tostitos?
I just don't think they're at the level of winning more than that.
But I think they could be, is my point.
Okay.
I think they could.
I think they could be
Because right
also.
now, they're like a Tier 2 team.
Yes.
They absolutely
They're
are.
Tier 2.
They're nowhere close to Ohio State
But
or
I mean,
Michigan.
they're ranked top 10. Like, they'll be in the conversation. But, I mean, with the right coaching, game day coaching, they could enter that chat.
Brendan Gunn is going to make sure those lines are X'd out, and he did, because now the Fanatics Knockout Tournament comes your way Wednesday, March 27th. We're going to give you a pair of tickets to see the Sixers take on the Clippers, and that's James Harden's return. Get ready to boo. And then you're going to head down to the court afterwards to battle your favorite Fanatic host in a game of knockout. So visit 975thefanatic.com right now. You'll get complete details, and you'll get another chance to win. So you can enter online for a chance to win if you can't call right now. It's all presented by Ferguson HVAC, your Delaware Valley Train heating and air conditioning distributor. Visit Train.com to find a dealer near you. It is 215-263-0975. And Brendan always gives the people who are listening on the app or on YouTube a chance to catch up. So the lines aren't open right this second, but you keep dialing because it might just open any second. 215-263-0975, and you will get a chance to be part of our Fanatic Knockout Tournament coming up on Wednesday, March the 27th. There are rule changes proposed in the NFL. Question is, do you like them? John Kincade Show on the Fanatic. He's always lively here at the Fanatic, and congratulations to Matt McCall, our winner. Matt, congratulations. You'll be participating in the game of knockout. He won it. That's great. Another chance to win tomorrow
I can't wait to play.
on the show. Are you playing?
Nope.
There's talk.
There's not
there's talk, Bob.
There's
No,
not
there is.
talk.
There's talk far and
I
wide.
don't know.
There's talk, but it's not that you're playing. It's that you're ducking it again.
Wow, you have such an angry attitude all the time. I've tried to break you out of it for like 4 years now.
Nope. I don't have an angry attitude. I
think
I
you
just
do.
want you to be about that action, boss.
I'm glad that you care so much about my playing days.
I do.
appreciate
I
you.
do. I want to see Bobby bad. It's not just me. I want the
Yes, it
people
is.
to see it. I want the people
You
to
might,
see it on
they don't.
display.
I don't think so.
Far and wide?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, far and wide. I don't know. I mean, it's look, Bob. One thing is you're not going to do to Bob Cooney, and you're wasting your time on this one. Is Bob's not going to be bullied into anything.
We'll see about that.
So you need
it's
to
not going to
change-
stop me from trying.
You need to bully. You need to change your tone to get through to him. There are rule changes being proposed in the National Football League, and Pat, you got some of them out there for perusal and a little review by us. Right? Could we be on the rules committee? If Bob and I were on the rules committee with you, let's give him a little an idea about whether we'd go for them or not.
Yeah, so this happens every year. Teams are able to submit some rule changes, and the Eagles actually were one of them. The rule that they have been wanting to change for a while now, I actually like it, is an alternative to the onside kick would basically be converting a 4th and 20.
I love this rule.
You convert a 4th and 20, you get the ball back. I don't think that that's going to be passed, but the point of defense of it is in 2023, teams recovered only 2 of 41 onside kick attempts. It's a waste. So this makes it a little bit difficult.
5%.
Yeah, and I mean also, let's be real. Like that's more exciting than the onside kick.
I would love that.
Your team lines up for an onside kick, and you go, "All right, this is a waste."
We're lining up for one play, 4th and 20 from your own 20. I was reading this morning. So from your own 20, you get a 4th and 20. If you convert it, you keep the ball. If you don't convert it, the other team takes over on your 20, game over.
Love that.
I love that
Yeah.
rule. I think that is so much better.
Now the other ones.
But wait, Bob, Pat and I are in support of something. You going to poo-poo on us or what?
I'm not poo-pooing. It's not bad. But what's more likely, 4th and 20 or an onside kick?
A 4th and
You
20.
think they're about
4th
the
and
same?
No, I think 4th and 20 much more.
I think 4th and 20 is much more likely.
So
So do
why
I.
are you giving a team that has been losing more of a chance to come back and win?
Because I want excitement in the game.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, I'm
think
all
it's-
for it, and I love the excitement of the game.
I think it's more exciting.
It's almost like you're punishing the team that has the lead, though.
But it's not though. Stop
I'm just
them.
playing devil's
I
advocate.
mean, 4th
No,
and
I
20.
mean-
Stop them.
And plus, too, imagine you're down 6 minutes to go in a game, and you have your 3 timeouts, and you're down by 11. You may decide to go for the onside. You may decide instead of kicking off, we're going to go for the 4th and 20 at that point. When you say, you know what, we're going to roll the dice here and do it. We feel like we've got momentum. We're going to try to keep the ball right here and keep it away from you. You could see teams using this earlier in games also.
Yeah, so what? You're going to start a game. Eagles playing Dallas 1999 or 2000. They say,
The pickle juice
no,
game.
we're not kicking off. Give us 4th and 20 to start the game.
You could, if you. I don't think you're going to see teams do that, but because I don't think they're going to want to give the ball up on the 20. If you lose, if you get stopped,
Well,
the other
that's
team's
what it
got
takes.
it on the 20,
Right. So as far
or
as
where they stop you, or
as,
where they stop
as
you.
far as percentages and stuff, okay, that's where you. But it also takes the element of surprise out of it. Like a team starts the second half with an onside kick. Maybe they get it, maybe they don't. Maybe they punish themselves, maybe they reward themselves. But you can't come out of the locker room and go, "Oh, excuse me, ref, can you give us 4th and 20?" I don't know
See,
about
I
that.
like the tight sphincter. I like the idea of you're going to be nervous. The other team's going to be nervous. You're getting a comeback. You're up by 4. You're up by 3 scores or something, and a team starts coming back. And I think you're going to see teams, instead of deciding, do they do a kickoff? Oh, we're going to kick it deep because we got our 3 timeouts. I think you're going to see some teams say, you know what, we'll go for the 4th and 20.
I just think it makes the game more exciting. I understand what you're saying, Bob.
yeah, I'm
but-
just thinking it out.
But we're not talking a 4th and 10. We're talking 4th and 20. Very tough to convert anyway. If you are losing the game, chances are it's probably because the defense is at some point shown up.
Sure.
So I really wouldn't sit there and think it's probably going to make the impact that we think. It just makes the games a little bit more exciting, which ultimately should be that should be their goal, is to make an exciting product. Because last year, a lot of the games sucked. And I'm not saying that this rule would make it all of a sudden so much more enjoyable, but you're more likely to stick around in the stadium and watch a game if you know this is happening, as opposed to, okay, we're down by 7 and we just scored and it's a minute 45 left. Oh, goody, we have an onside kick. I might as well hit the parking lot at that point. You're not recovering that.
Oh, goody. I like that.
Oh, goody.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that in a long time. The oh, goody.
All the things that you set up there are right. I just, just for deeper thinking on it, that it might take away that element of surprise.
So are you saying you're a next level thinker and I'm not?
No, like you're up.
Sounds
you
like
just
it.
went up 21-7 or something, and it's the middle of the third quarter, and you do an onside kick and recover, and it's like, damn, that was cool. Well, that's out now.
Or you could say, if you were up 21-7, you could say, I'm going 4th and 20.
I wouldn't
I'm going
outlaw
for the jugular.
I wouldn't outlaw the onside kick.
No, they're
But
not. I don't think
this is
they're
an
going to
option,
outlaw.
though.
It's an option.
Okay.
This is an
All
option.
right. All right, cool.
The other one, Indianapolis Colts proposed allowing coaches to challenge any foul that has been called on the field in addition to the existing menu of plays they are eligible to challenge. So anything that goes on, they can challenge it.
I think that's fantastic also.
Unlimited?
But it's one of your challenges.
Yeah, it's one of your challenges.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah,
'Cause there's
so
things
how
that
many
can't be
you get
challenged.
one challenge, and if you're right, you get another one. Is that what it is now?
I thought you get 2.
You get
In
two.
NFL, you get two.
two.
And if you get it right, you keep the next one, or it doesn't matter.
No,
you get two.
I believe
Just
you
get
just get two.
Yeah, if you're going to get
Which-
2 challenges, yes, I
Let me-
agree.
let me add
you
on to
should
that.
be able to add to anything.
The Detroit Lions submitted a rule change that would allow coaches to get a third challenge if one of their first 2 challenges is successful, rather than if both are successful. So if you challenge 2 times, you get a third. This is saying, hey, if you just get one right,
No,
great job, participation trophy, you get a third.
no, you get both of your challenges right. I think you deserve the third. But I do not think if you're 1-1, you should get another one.
I would be hard pressed to see how many games have 3 challenges in it from one team.
I got to tell you, like in my stupid mind, it's getting to the point of, all right, run a play, let's watch it on replay and figure out what went wrong and what was right. Do we let it go or don't we? Like, you're taking the human aspect out of it so much. I understand wanting to get it right. And, John, you weren't here last week in the high school thing that Pat referred to last
Was
week.
that the Camden game?
Yeah.
Which that was a terrible.
Yeah. But it brings it up to, what do you look at and what don't you? Man,
Where
I
did
don't
you
know.
fall on that, by the way?
They got it wrong, but there's a rule that's set, and they had to abide by it. Like,
That's so
the rule is
terrible.
once the referees leave the floor, the game's over, and that's what they did, and that's what happened. And ultimately, Manasquan handled it right. I mean, I didn't agree with going to the courts with it. That was reactionary. Under, whatever. I wouldn't have done that. But then they came out with a statement and said, hey, we appreciate everybody for caring about us. Please put your efforts towards our girls who are in the state championship. And then all the boys' team went to that Camden championship game and stuck around and watched it. So class on them, lesson
That is a
learned.
classy response.
Yeah. So
They
yeah,
got
you
screwed,
move on.
though, in a
Oh,
major way.
God, yeah. Not
Oh,
even
my gosh.
not even close.
Now,
But,
are those officials going to work games again?
it's high school. You need officials, probably.
They're
Is there
supposed to be the
something
best of the
deeper?
best for a game like that?
Yeah. And one of my good friends is the head
Sure.
of officials in South Jersey. He didn't have a good day. But all right, so going back to that, Pat, man, 3 challenges, like
I think it's-
Well, you get 3 now if you get 2 right.
Yeah, as I said, I don't like how many games
Need the third. you
need
mean?
the third challenge. Yeah,
Yeah.
how many teams are going to the third challenge? I think it's
What's the-
overkill
what's
at
the-
that point.
what's another-
Yeah,
anyone?
we got a couple other ones, but a lot
Okay.
of them are just, I'm not even going to mention it because they're just stupid. But the one that's interesting is the Pittsburgh Steelers proposed moving the trade deadline back 1 week to after Week 9 games. In a separate proposal, 6 other teams suggested moving it back until after Week 10 games. This would basically equate to adding the 1 game towards the end of the season,
Right.
so it gets to halfway. I think that will be changed.
I think that sounds good because the later the trade deadline is, the better chance of players being moved.
Yes, I agree. 100% agree.
You realize
yeah, I
you're
don't
out
have
of
any
it.
problem with that.
And
That's
then
okay.
The last one I'll talk about, and I just think this is dumb, but the Eagles hope to see game clocks display tenths of a second in the final minutes of each half. And the reason I personally think that's dumb is tenths of a second. I mean, it's really tough for me to just equate that in real time where I go, okay.
Here's the thing is, though, we have the technology. Why would you not want to see it be tenths of a second? Like, if we have the technology, you know what I mean?
Like, yeah, I mean, add it on, but the last minute of play and all that, like, I don't see, like, is Nick Sirianni so eagle-eyed that he's like, okay, let's wait till 20 tenths of a second, and then we'll hit, we'll call the timeout. I think it's pointless.
Well,
but you're right. They do have the technology, so it should be added up.
Yeah, and because, like, in basketball, if a team loses the ball and there's 1/10 of a second to go, you can't do anything.
Right.
They've ruled it that you can't catch and shoot, you can't tip,
What's it
nothing.
Got to be 0.7?
But in, I think it's 0.3 you can tip, 0.5 you could catch and shoot.
Okay.
But in football, if you go out with 1/10 of a second left, you go out of bounds, you get another play.
That's a play.
That's a whole play. So I don't mind it, Pat. I wouldn't. I like the adding that. Yes.
Okay.
Well,
the Eagles suggested it, so.
Well, one of the things that reportedly they're going to try in the preseason, and this doesn't need the rules committee to be involved in it, is digital markers on the ball and the sideline markers.
Isn't it?
Why is it not already been done?
This is funny. That is one of the most outdated things that you'll see in all of sports. We're talking about the technology, and you have guys that are carrying chains on long poles.
It's stupid.
Every 10 yards.
It's nothing to sneeze at.
It is so funny to me.
I like it.
It is hysterical.
Yeah.
Come on, bring the chains out.
This is
in this day and age, bring the chains out.
So you want to eliminate jobs in the country?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's me, Pat.
I do.
That's the way I took it.
I do.
No more chains.
We'll see if Vice President Rogers agrees.
Yeah.
But on
bringing
his
jobs back to the country, the chain gangs are back.
No, just take that up because you still would have the marker, but it's digitally with the football. So now there'd be no more did he cross the line or not. There would be an automatic because the marker to marker on the sideline would have a digital component. If the ball passes it, if the nose of the ball hits the markers, they would automatically get an alert saying, yes, it did. Even if it was a scrum, where you don't see it, they would know exactly where the ball was and it would be done. That should have been done 10 years ago.
It should have been. I'm still old school.
I hate the human element. When I hate.
You hate the human element?
Yes, I hate the human element because that's something that the human element gets wrong. I want it right.
Players get plays wrong. Coaches get coaching wrong.
If we have the technology to get a call right that decides yes, no, win, lose, good, bad, I want it to get it right. We have the technology to do it. Do it.
We have technology that robots can serve people in restaurants now. Why not put robots on the field and save people's lives?
No, I want robot umpire behind home plate. I want the robot home plate. You'd still have an umpire there for calls at the plate. But I want absolutely balls and strikes because I'm tired of, this umpire, he likes to call the low strike. And this umpire likes to extend the strike zone up. Or this umpire doesn't give you the outside pitch. The fact that Major League Baseball players have to have a brief meeting to discuss the umpire of the night and how the umpire likes to call their strike zone, to me, is the stupidest part of the sport. There's a strike zone. Call it. It shouldn't be up to interpretation by each umpire. And if you have a technology that can be already proven to be 99.7 or 99.8% accurate, why are you not using it?
Because that's the greatest thing about sports. Nothing's perfect.
Yeah, but why do you want it? Why wouldn't you want to get it right?
I kind of wanted to get it right. I saw an interesting proposal from Jason Stark.
What was that?
And it was, there's something they were doing. It wasn't a proposal from me. It was in the Frontier League, maybe. They basically had like a challenge. And the player, the batter could in real time. The batter could challenge that it was a ball or a strike. Well, he would challenge it. If it was a batter, he would challenge it was a ball. But they could sit there and go, no, that wasn't a strike, and then they'd go and they'd review it. And I don't remember exactly how many chances they got to do this, but it was interesting. And I was like, all right. I mean, that's kind of appeasing both sides of it, the human element factor, and then the people that want to, like me and John, want to like just get it 100% right. But then you also have, the factor of like you got to pick your battles, and you see that in sports all the time. Of how many times do we see early on in a football game, a team will clearly get away with a call or a play was questionable, but they'll save the challenge. And we see that in the NBA constantly,
Yes.
where like in first and second quarter, no one's using their challenges in the first and second quarter because we got to save it for the end of the game, even though the call was clearly botched. So I think that would be an interesting way of doing it.
Now, Bob, you say that as we are now 2 weeks till the start of baseball season, it is a certain time of year. We're a week till spring, 2 weeks till baseball season. But you say you're not as excited at this time of year as you normally are, and I think I know what you're talking about.
I'm getting so pissed off. Well, one of the things is people, many listeners out there or YouTubers out there might not agree with this, but golf is down. Golf is really down, and they're in a struggle right now. And I heard a national story yesterday, and the numbers are down as far as people watching. You have a tournament this weekend. You labeled it correctly yesterday, John, in the Players' Championship. It's probably the 5th major. Well, you're missing like
all the live golfers.
You're missing like 8 of the top 20 golfers in golf right now because of this separation between live and the PGA. And so, like, if you're a golf fan, it stinks. Like, it sucks. You don't have John Rahm playing in this, who might be the best golfer in the world right now. There's plenty of other guys you can mention, Dustin Johnson, all those guys, that you're not having in big tournaments. And it sucks for the casual fan like me. And I love golf. I like watching golf. Yeah, I'm watching guys on a leaderboard that I've never heard of before. Now, that's okay, like up-and-coming guys and all. But, no, these guys aren't up-and-coming. These are one-hit wonders because nobody else is playing in this thing. So that's that. And I love this time of the year because the Masters is coming up. And I told you, I do my calendar year by the sports. So my calendar year is about to start into the spring because of Masters and because of the NCAA tournament. And it's like, damn,
the NCAA
that's
tournament
falling off for me too.
I thought that was what you were going to talk about first.
Yes, so first is the NCAA tournament, and the golf is there also. But those were the two things that took me into baseball season. The weather changing. Here comes summer, which you guys know I love.
I know you love summer.
Boom, here it is. And now, like, college basketball now, I saw this morning, I look up and I said, St. Joe's playing 11:30 this morning. All right, I'm going to go home and watch that today. And, tonight I'm looking up games to watch. But no, not like I used to.
It's not the same.
And it sucks, and I hate it, but it's not grabbing me like that. And then the golf that I talked about, the Masters and all, yeah,
no,
that's
it's not
down
the same.
too. And it's like, shoot, my season that I love, taking me into summer, it's not there like it used to be.
NCAA tournament has just lost incredible luster. And I heard, like, Greeny on a promo overnight on ESPN Radio. He goes, we're a week away from the greatest event in all of sports. Stop lying. Stop lying.
Well, maybe that's his opinion. Maybe
it might be. I mean,
his Northwestern team has
the greatest, the greatest event. And there was a time when I truly did think you could argue that the NCAA tournament was the greatest event in sports. There was a time. There was an era where it was. It is most certainly not now.
So when I was, say, Pat's age, maybe a little younger, that Thursday and Friday, are you kidding me?
It was the best.
That we did everything around that. Stories written for the Daily News. They were handing
I remember
in
the
at 9
guide
in the morning.
from the Daily News, the little pull-out section you guys used to do.
Are you thumbnails on each team?
Right, exactly.
John, we would get assigned. I would be calling the head coach from Stephen F. Austin at 6 o'clock on a Sunday, on Selection Sunday, because they just got in. Get a phone number, call him. Hey, coach, can you give me a little heads up on your team? I got to write a thumbnail. Like, that's what we did. It was awesome.
It was huge.
Our favorite memories at the Daily News was putting together that 64-page pullout.
And it was fantastic.
It was unbelievable. It was watching the greatest people in that profession work.
Remember filling out your bracket?
Oh, God, yeah.
It used to be like, it used to encompass, they used to say that it was the least productive week in business in America.
I mean, bars
because
packed
people
at
would be
noon.
sneaking out of work, people doing their brackets in the beginning of the week. The office pools were in the billions of dollars.
Yeah.
With people exchanging it. Now it's become...
Like, it used to be, so Selection Sunday would come. You knew where the regional finals were. And it was like me, Mike Kern, Dana Pinette O'Neill, Dick Girardi. All right, which regional final are you going to? And that was the thing. And, all right, I got a sign, say, Houston. All right, who's out there? Look at these teams. Oh, cool, I got LSU, man. I want to see Big Baby. And like, right off the bat, you knew who guys were on teams.
Not Lil Baby, Pat.
And it's
Big
not,
baby.
like Pat, you're
Big Baby
your age now. You have friends or anything? Like, Is
Do you
there
have
a
any
big
friends
Thursday,
I have
Friday?
I have a couple friends.
Is there a big Thursday, Friday thing on the first week of the tournament? Like,
Not anymore.
Yeah, we're meeting for lunch,
Nope.
or and that's a shame, man.
Your gang will be meeting for lunch.
Yeah,
We'll be watching.
Yeah, we will.
But it's not the same as it's been.
It's not. And, you get up in age, and, like, there used to be kids that I coach that would be in the tournament, and that would be great. Like, oh, man, we got to catch the Lafayette game because my boy Timmy Biggs playing in there who, we coach and stuff like that. And, yeah, now it's just like
it's not.
There's really hard stuff to grab onto in it, and it's a shame. It really is a shame.
It is because it's such an amazing in concept, it's such an amazing thing. And then I hear Jim Boeheim the other night. And Jim Boeheim I find to be one of the insufferable voices of sports. So, I have a personal bias there. He wants 96 or 128. He says the NCAA tournament should be 128. But he'd settle for 96. I'm like, are you serious? We're now going to go to, if you go to 96, we're then going to go to teams with 500 or less records being in the NCAA tournament. If we go to 128, we're going to go to probably, on an average year, 15 to 20 teams not having a winning record in the NCAA tournament. What's going on? I mean, and I understand the coaches union would want it because then coaches can say, we went to the NCAA tournament. And I know Temple would have been in, Pat, 5 or 6 years that they haven't been in the past.
Yeah, probably.
If you went to 96. So it would benefit my school many years. I don't see expanding this event, especially in the era of NIL. I actually think contracting it would make for a better event.
Yeah,
because nowadays this is crazy.
I was good at 64. I like the excitement of Selection Sunday.
Right.
Yeah, did some teams get screwed and others shouldn't have got in? Yeah, but that's all. Like that, like I talked about the imperfection of humanization of sports. Nothing's perfect because we're all humans. So whether it's the play, the picking, whatever, I like that. I just do. I remember the year LaSalle was one of the last teams to get in, and they wound up going to the Sweet 16 out in L.A. Like, that's the coolness of the college basketball, the imperfection of it all. I do. I miss it so bad. And it should be easy for me to just say, well, then just start following it more. But it just doesn't have the grab for me right now, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Like I said, I'll watch, and I love going to the locals. I love going to see Villanova, LaSalle, Temple, St. Joe's, Penn, all of those. Drexel. Love going to see all those teams play, and I always will forever. But when the national stage is here, it's just not that there for me anymore. You had Duke, North Carolina on this past weekend.
It's not the same.
I remember being on the road, John, and talking to players and being like, listen, I need you to get done this interview with me by 6 o'clock because then I'm going to walk and I'm going to go get my dinner in front of a TV to watch Duke, North Carolina. The other night I passed it and I watched it for maybe a minute and a half, and it was like, okay.
We used to be able to name the starting fives of Duke and North Carolina.
God, yeah, absolutely.
And that's the difference. And it's weird because now Steven sends along a note and he goes, well, John, you got what you wanted. You're the one always banging the drum. The players need to be paid. It is destroying college sports. Look, I'm all for people getting paid for their services. If I send my child to school, you can make money while you're in college, while you're pursuing a degree. I think it's freaking awesome. But I will say, he's right, Stephen. You're right. It is the unforeseen circumstances. It's just not good.
Yeah.
Did you hear Nick Saban's comments about what happened at the end of the year when he was testifying the other day? When he was testifying at the end of the year when they lost the college football semifinal.
How kids didn't care?
And they walked in the room and were like on their phones and
yeah.
Like, he's used to seeing – he was used to walking into a room at Alabama and when they would lose a heartbreaking game, guys having to be consoled.
Yeah.
Guys being in their and sometimes they would have to delay the team bus by an hour and a half because guys just weren't ready to get about their business, and he understood that. These guys, he said they were on to the next thing, and is there a transfer portal, and
where am I going next? And it's a me thing, and you're making the hand gestures for people that can't see. You're doing the phone hand gestures.
Yes.
That's a lot of it too. Are you building relationships? Do you get done practice and our favorite times, we were talking about this the other day, me and the guys that I played high school ball with. Like, our funnest times were when the games were done and, Please don't get weird on this. But, you're getting your showers. You're figuring out what you're going to do after the game and all that stuff. And I remember years in coaching and not long after, like the games would get done and boom, they're just right out the gym. And we treasured that time, like just hanging out together and just being together. And like I told you, Donna found my scrapbook.
I saw it the other day, the picture of it.
So the story in there of our last game in high school, it leads with our head coach talking about all of us in there crying because
the end.
We had 12 seniors. You never hear this. We had 12 seniors on my varsity team my senior year. There was no sophomores, juniors. It was all seniors. And so we had all gone to high school together and we're close friends. Like, it sucked. It came to an end. Like, you're right. I don't know if people feel that anymore in high school or colleges, rather. And transfer portal. I'm talking to a high school coach the other day. I'm like, oh, how you looking next year? A guy that I don't talk to all that much. He goes, well, it depends who's coming back.
A high school coach.
I'm like, oh, my God. Like, I grew up, couldn't wait to play for my high school.
There are guys who
and
played
now
like
it's just me.
Like Raiola, the quarterback who went to Nebraska, who transferred. He had committed to Georgia, and now he's going to go back. He's going to go play for Nebraska for Matt Rule. I think he played in 3 or 4 high schools.
Yeah.
From 8th grade, I think he was in 3 or 4 schools. I'm like, that's crazy town. Because you're going to jump around to make sure. Well, is your kid? Oh, you're going to give me a better opportunity for my kid? I'm going to change their high school experience. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I can't imagine not the bonds you build in life. You can run into someone from your high school. And for a lot of people, I know this, is that I can run into someone I haven't seen in 20 years, and we can get into a conversation that could last a half hour being like,
sure.
So how you been? You pick up. I can't imagine jumping around and the commitment.
It's a shame. And, what broke my heart was talking to a college coach over the summer and him talking about a recruit that he thought he had, but they got offered more money. We could only offer him $15,000. They offered him $30,000. I'm like.
And you don't blame the kid.
No, I don't blame the kid. I don't blame the coach. I blame the system. Yeah, I don't love it. You and I differed on this. I love the kids get scholarships for their athletic abilities. Okay, they don't have to pay for school. As a parent, having had to pay for 3 kids going through college, I know that's a huge help.
It is.
Like, okay, that's your payment.
I look at it this way though, and I would say it this way: is I have a daughter who's on scholarship, but my daughter also has paid jobs that are making her money as she goes while she's going for her degree. One an internship, one a job. And she's getting paid for both. I think that's freaking awesome.
Sure.
When you can go and you can use your skill set and say, somebody's willing to pay you for your expertise, whether it's dribbling a basketball, whether it's something you can do with advertising, social media, or otherwise. It's just a different age. And Pat, those NIL deals, when your kids sign them, you're gonna be loving that.
If my kid is signing an NIL deal, John, I am going to request a paternity test because they're probably not my kid. They're athletic.
Jack seems pretty feisty, though.
He's feisty. I didn't say he was athletic.
Doesn't matter. He might get there in his feistiness alone. Could be. You never know.
Do they give out NIL deals for locker room guys?
They have how about this? I cannot think of the young man's name, but he's a track and field guy at Texas. A pole vaulter, decathlete, does all this stuff. He's at Texas.
He's Ohio State, dude.
And and this young man
nerd
is athletic, good looking, but not exactly like the greatest at his things. This kid's killing it in NIL. Just killing it. Clothing deals, swimsuits, everything. He's a good looking kid and he's turned it into a ton of money. And he's a Texas Longhorn.
Yeah,
and he's doing it for himself. So good stuff. You can do it.
All you need to know about NIL, not all you need to know, but if you're a proponent of it, or opposed to it rather, all you need to know is the highest paid NIL person is a second-string basketball player, LeBron James' son.
Oh, jeez. Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partners, Paul B. Moyer and Sons, and make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it today at 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives. Ray Dunn's back in the building, and him and Chunas have a big show planned for you today. So you don't want to miss it. And then the best show ever will entertain you this afternoon. Make sure you're hitting that on your ride home. And don't miss the Fanatic all day long on your app or your desktop. Have a great, great Thursday, everybody.